Today's game, the Red Raiders of Paulsboro, the Bulldogs of Glassboro High School. Hi again, everybody. Mike Lindner with Bob Shryock. The 22nd football game of the season for Channel 5, and it couldn't be a better way to end the day than this rematch between two teams that gave us such an exciting contest on Thanksgiving Day. Bob, can it be just as good as that one?
I think so, Mike. Both teams very much up for this football game. Of course, a Thanksgiving game won by Paulsboro 21-19, just one of the most exciting games we've seen all season long. Two high-powered offenses, but I think defense is going to make the difference today, and I'm not so sure that Glassboro is going to be able to score 3 times again on this outstanding Paulsboro defense. I look for a lower scoring game than we saw first time, Mike.
Okay, that's the way it looks for Bob Shryock, and earlier today, he had a chance to take a look at today's starters.
Offensive starters for Glassboro High School, starting at split end number 41, 135-pound junior, Brian Barrett. Two-way tackle, number 77, 220-pound senior, Andy Stewart. Two-way starter at left guard and right defensive end, number 60, 160-pound junior, Joe DeSimone. Starting at center and nose guard on defense, number 66, 180-pound junior, Bill Rui Chiaffi. Starting at tackle and nose guard on defense, number 54, 160-pound senior, Ed Kelly. Starting at right guard, number 73, 175-pound senior, Glenn Williams. Two-way tackle, number 67, 180-pound senior, Buddy Frank. Starting at tight end and defensive safety, number 20, 160-pound senior, Walt Peterson. Starting at wingback, number 14, 150-pound junior, Pete Talbot. Starting at fullback and linebacker in defense, number 45, 170-pound sophomore, Reese Peterson. Starting at halfback and defensive safety, number 34, 180-pound senior, Jack Sampson. Starting at quarterback, number 12, 175-pound senior, quarterback Dave Young. And the kicker for Glassboro High School, number 58, 220-pound junior, Steve Beebe. Starting at defensive halfback, number 22, 155-pound senior, Rick McCant. Also starting at defensive halfback, number 24, 150-pound sophomore, Pete Sweets Lester. Starting at defensive left end, number 85, 170-pound senior, Happy Groff. Starting at linebacker, number 64, 175-pound junior, Mark Antolini. Safety and halfback, number 21, 160-pound senior, Chris Harris. And the head coach at Glassboro High School, John Avini. John, first time you've been here since 1975. Been an exciting day for Glassboro High School.
Oh, certainly an exciting day for Glassboro High School. We're thrilled to death. Really happy we're here.
John, any chance we can duplicate that great Thanksgiving game with possibly a different ending for Glassboro?
Well, we want a different ending, but for the fans' sake, I hope it's a real nice, good, tight ball game.
John, thanks very much.
Starting
on offense for Paulsboro High School at split end number 85, 160-pound senior, Mark Cooper. Starting at left tackle, number 51, 190-pound junior, Ken Packer. Starting at left guard on offense and linebacker, John Paulson, number 66, 145-pound junior. Starting at center and defensive tackle, number 50, 190-pound junior, Bill Machowski. Starting at right guard and defensive end, number 64, 155-pound senior, John Gentile. Starting at right tackle on offense and defensive tackle, number 75, 198-pound senior, Mark Hampton. Starting at flanker, number 82, 170-pound senior, Sean Hartman. Starting at running back, number 20, 180-pound junior, Brian Dick. Starting at running back, number 18, 147-pound junior, Zach Worthy. Starting at running back, number 40, 165-pound senior, Royce Hampton. The kicker for Paulsboro High School, number 74, 180-pound junior, Jim Gentile. Defensive starters for Paulsboro High School, starting at defensive end, number 55, 140-pound senior, Jim Tortella. Starting at nose guard, number 41, 235-pound senior, Bob Dobzhansky. Starting at safety, number 9, 155-pound sophomore, Willie Anderson. And starting at safety, number 11, 175-pound junior, Bob Miller. Two important members of the Paulsboro team, Adolphus Scott and John Petras, unable to be here for the introduction ceremonies because they're taking their college board examinations. Tom Brown, head coach at Paulsboro High School. Tom, is there undue pressure on your team because it is a defending Group 1 champion?
I really don't think so. We're just happy we have a great day here for all our kids, and beautiful weather for the fans and the kids. I think you're going to see a heck of a football game today.
If we can see one half as good as the Thanksgiving Day game, we're going to see a great one, right?
I think so. I look for the ball to be thrown quite a bit by both teams. I think it's going to be very exciting.
Tom, thanks very much and good luck.
Okay, Bob. Thank you.
All right, both teams are ready to go for this important game, and we'll be back with all that action following these short messages. Mike Lindner with Bob Shryock for Channel 5 here in our final football game of the season, just about ready to get underway. Going for the South Jersey Group 1 Sectional Championship, the Bulldogs and the Red Raiders. Teeing the ball up now for Paulsboro, and kicking off will be number 41, Bob Dubzanski. Dubzanski, the youngster who made the key tackle to deny Jack Sampson the end zone and the tying extra points in the Thanksgiving Day game, preserving Paulsboro's victory. Deep for Glassboro, Jack Sampson, the all-around running back, number 34. He'll be in the middle. Pete Lester and Rick McCant will be alongside him. 48 minutes of football to determine the South Jersey Group 1 champion. Dubzanski's kick will be taken by Sampson at the 5-yard line. Sampson's not going to get much on this one, and he's wrapped up quickly by Royce Hampton. Number 40 making the tackle on the special teams for Paulsboro High School.
Great individual effort that time by Hampton. Paulsboro kicking to Sampson on that play. We saw Sampson return the opening kickoff 88 yards for a touchdown against Riverside, setting the tone for that Group 1 semifinal game, but this time the great tackle by Hampton, pinning Glassboro deep.
All right, the Bulldogs will start the offensive play for the day from the 21-yard line. At quarterback, number 12, Dave Young. Running back, Sampson and Reese Peterson. Sampson on the crossbuck gets an excellent block and is into the Paulsboro secondary. Has the Glassboro first down out over the 30, close to the 35-yard line. And Bob, this team has been an explosive football team in the first quarter all season long.
Here's another of the interesting statistics that Chuck Mangini has provided for us, Mike. 62 points for Glassboro. Only 7 for their opposition in the first period this season. That's a very interesting statistic, a very fast-starting team.
All right, Frank, Williams, DeSimone, and Stewart are the interior linemen, along with Bill Chaffee at center for Glassboro. They'll do the blocking up front. They'll run the same play again, and Sampson will have to struggle this time to get 3 or 4 yards, but he'll pick them up. It'll be a 2nd down and 6. The ball will be marked now at the 37-yard line.
Sampson, having a fine season, has been used sparingly on offense this year because Gianavini has so many fine running backs. Sampson, of course, plays defense as well. 739 rushing yards coming in, an average of 6.5 per carry. And, of course, Sampson over 2,000 yards for his Glassboro High School career rushing.
All right, this time Dave Young has him in the wing T formation. Brian Barrett is a split end to the far side. Sampson again on the 3rd carry. He's not going to get away this time as the defense coming up from the secondary. John Petrus, who apparently has made it back, Bob, from his appointment this morning.
John Petrus and Adolphus Scott, 2 outstanding Paulsboro players, were late arriving today because they took their SAT test this morning. But they've been important members of this Paulsboro team. Down the stretch, Paulsboro 8-2 coming into this game on the year. Glassboro 7-3. There's John Petrus, number 7, who will be starting at quarterback again today. Bob Miller is back. He did not play in the first game against Glassboro on Thanksgiving Day, but Miller is in there, number 11, playing defensive back, and we've mentioned him all season long because he's been such a valuable member of this Raider team.
All right, defensively across the front 5, Tortella, Machowski, Dubzanski, Mark Hampton, and Gentile. Gentile now drops off from the defensive end as a flag is thrown, dead ball violation before they go. But there's a defensive adjustment being made by Paulsboro, Bob, the 5-man fronter, as they see Glassboro's slot formation, and they show that a lot. They're taking the defensive end and dropping them off 5 yards and splitting the difference between the defensive end or the offensive end and the tackle. And the Glassboro coaches before the game felt with it very, very little time before the Paulsboro game. They thought they had the Red Raiders diagnosed perfectly, but Tom Brown and his staff gave them a lot of defensive different looks, and it caused some problems. And here's another one in the early going here.
At his own 30-yard line.
All right, there'll be now a 3rd down and 13, and Young will have his first passing opportunity today. Going down the middle, it's going to be knocked away, nearly caught by Talbert, and then Bob Miller from the defensive secondary comes close to picking it off for an interception, but it'll just be an incomplete pass, and we'll have our first punting situation of the day.
Seemed like a pretty good pass by Young. I think it was a catchable ball. Talbot simply couldn't hang on to it, but A chance to see that pass play again. 3rd and long situation.
Young always with the double fake, it seems, when he throws.
And it's good pass, catchable pass, but simply could not hang on.
And now we have the punt. Young, the punt. He gets it up high. It doesn't have great distance. It'll fall, and it's going to go backwards, get a Paulsboro bounce, and it'll finally be marked dead by number 54, Ed Kelly, for Glassboro High School. So Paulsboro is going to take over in Glassboro territory. The ball will be at the Glassboro 47-yard line, 1st and 10.
Well, how well we remember this first Saturday in December a year ago when Paulsboro absolutely pulverized Palmyra 51-20 in the Group 1 championship game, but pretty much a different offensive cast for Paulsboro this season. Kevin Ross not in there at Temple now with a tremendous game against Palmyra last year.
Petrus, number 7, is the quarterback. He goes to Zach Worthy on a quick hitter. Worthy will be wrapped up by Sampson, and he'll get help from the defensive secondary. McCant coming up along with Pete Lester. And forward motion will take the ball up 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Mark it now at the Glassboro 43-yard line.
What Tom Brown and his Paulsboro staff want to guard against is the same kind of start that Glassboro had in the Thanksgiving game. The Bulldogs jumping on top 13-0 in the early going in that one.
All right, Mark Cooper did not play at Thanksgiving, is the split end for Paulsboro. Now Brian Dick goes on the quick opener across the left side. Andy Stewart and Joe DeCimini make the tackle for Glassboro. He'll be short of the 1st down. The ball will be moved now right to the 40-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and a short 2 yards to go for the 1st down. Plays being alternated. Sean Hartman and Mike Arlington running them back and forth for Tom Brown. This time Hartman is at left end, 2 tight end alignment, and Worthy is going to get the 1st down for Paulsboro. So nothing special being run in the early going by Paulsboro, Bob, just going straight ahead and trying to defeat that strong defensive line of Glassboro.
But Tom Brown hinted in the pregame introductions, Mike, that we might be seeing the ball in the air. I was a little bit surprised at that. Petrus not as much of a throwing quarterback as Miller has been this season, but perhaps that's something we can look for as the game progresses.
All right, the blocking being done by Adolphus Scott, Mark Hampton, John Gentile, Bill Machowski, John Paulson, and Ken Packer. And again, another quick hitter. Worthy will get a couple of yards out of it.
We saw the Paulsboro offensive line pretty much take charge in the Thanksgiving game after Glassboro had jumped onto that early 13-0 lead, and we'll see if the same form holds up here in the first period of this game.
All right, defensively, DeCimini, Frank, Chaffee, Stewart, and Groff are the front 5. Antolini and Falkenstein are the linebackers. This time, it's going to be the option play, and Petrus elects to keep it himself and turns inside, finally dragged down by Mark Antolini. Been so strong at linebacker for Glassboro all year. Petrus will get around 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down now, a little more than 3 yards to go. The ball marked at the 29-yard line. This time, Cooper will come over and be at a tight end position on the left side, but they'll go the other way, and it's going to be a fumble. The ball's lying around. It is going to be covered by a Paulsboro player. Good reaction. Antolini in quickly along with Reese Peterson for Glassboro, but they're unable to get it, and it's covered by a Paulsboro player.
Bill Machowski, number 50, coming up with that ball. Bill, 190-pound junior who's done so well for the Raiders all season long. So a tough call here for Paulsboro. 4th and 7 situation. And I think they're going to punt, try to pin Glassboro deep.
All right, the ball will be snapped from the Glassboro 33. Glassboro expecting maybe a fake, and they're all uptight. Jack Sampson, the safety, has not gone deep to receive Dobzanski's punt. He's going to go for the corner and doesn't put much to it, but if he gets a roll, he'll get everything he wants out of this one. Nothing wrong with that as it's finally covered downfield by Brian Dick, and it's inside the 5-yard line, and didn't look like much of a kick to start with, but
that's a great kick. That is a finesse kick all the way, and that's something that you see the big guys having trouble doing, Mike. The pro kickers, of course, are kicking on the AstroTurf a lot, and it's hard to do that, but they wanted to get him inside the 10-yard line. They not only did that, they got him down to the 1. A great kick by Dobzanski, and again, a tremendous finesse punt.
And credit Brian Dick, of course, very heady play. He was down there, let it roll, and all the way to the 1-yard line where Glassboro will take over and then down it. Young with Peterson and Sampson behind him. They'll go with that power play off tackle again, and he's not going to get it.
Safety.
It's going to be a safety. 2 points. Tackle made over there by Gentile as the first hit along with Dobzhansky, and they're very, very happy. It's going to be 2-0 Paulsboro here at the 6:20 mark of the first period.
Well, Glassboro a little bit stunned on that play, but that tremendous Paulsboro defense that has really held up all season long for Tom Brown and his staff while the offense has gotten into gear. But there's a 2 points that could be very critical in this football game. And now, of course, Glassboro is going to be forced to punt the ball. We're watching it at one replay, and a great individual effort by Dobzhansky, the same man that tackled Sampson on that critical 2-point play Mike was talking about before. In the Thanksgiving Day game, Dobzhansky showing that great lateral movement, getting over there, stopping Sampson. 2 points for Paulsboro, and now Glassboro must punt from its 20.
And, Bob, that was the same exact play that Glassboro tried to get the extra point on, and talking to some of the coaches when they reviewed the film, they were concerned about somebody sealing down to the inside. Of course, they pulled both guards on that play, and Dobzhansky got a free ride, according to the coaching staff from Glassboro, on that Thanksgiving Day play, and made the big play. And once again, the way he blew through there, just unbelievable speed, and can't be a happy coach here.
John Avini looking very concerned, but trying to regroup his troops early in the football game. 6:20 to go in the first, but a 2-point safety. You don't see too many safeties, but the Raiders on the board with 2 points. And, of course, they're going to likely get very good field position out of this.
And it'll be a free kick situation, of course, any way you want to do it. And it looks like Beebe is going to kick it from the tee. Ball, of course, not teed high, quite an angle. But Steve Beebe, number 58, will kick for Glassboro. Hampton and Anderson will be deep, and we'll see if they'll get the ball to them. They're standing around their own 23-yard line. 6:20 remaining in the first period. Paulsboro on top, 2-0. Beebe's going to bounce it around. Then Dobzhansky will take it and just fall on it, and maybe a little mistake there, Bob, although they get great field position at the Glassboro 49. Looked like Dobzhansky had 10 yards that he could have gotten out of that at least.
I believe he did. He wanted to make sure he kept possession, though. He does not consider himself a runner. And nonetheless, Paulsboro with outstanding field position right behind the safety, and we'll see if the Glassboro defense can regroup.
All right, Petrus will remain at quarterback. Brian Dick at one running back. Worthy at the other, but Brian Dick again on a quick opener. And he is up for 3 or 4 yards. Gets it down near the Glassboro 45-yard line. They'll mark it right there. And now move it back. So it'll be at the 46. It'll be 2nd down and 7 to go with Paulsboro in possession.
Of course, Brian Dick with the big Thanksgiving Day game against Glassboro. He scored 2 touchdowns through for the 3rd and was named back of the game in the Mayor's Trophy voting.
Arlington now split down to the near side, but again they go on an opening dive to Brian Dick, and Dick will be very close to the first down. Let's wait and see if they have to measure this one, but Paulsboro, looking at the films of Thanksgiving Day, Bob, must have thought that their line could handle the defensive front 5 for Glassboro, and they're just blowing them away here in the early going.
That's exactly what it looks like, and I'm sure Tom Brown felt he could do that in the Thanksgiving game after Paulsboro set its offense in motion, but nothing fancy about what Paulsboro is doing.
John Lusko in the white cap, today's referee, takes a look at it and says they're 2 or 3 inches short, so it'll be 3rd down.
At the Bulldog 39-yard line.
Glassboro, we've seen them a number of times this season, Bob, and generally stay out there in that 5-man front, and perhaps they're going to have to change things up to get some kind of adjustments in Paulsboro's blocking assignments, and hope that'll stop this easy going that they've shown so far. Petrus wants to keep it himself, falls forward, and he has enough for the 1st down.
Paulsboro doing a good job of controlling the football in the first period. Of course, Glassboro did that in the Thanksgiving Day game, particularly in the early going. Really an amazing Paulsboro team. 10-1 a year ago. They're 8-2 coming into this one after losing their opener 8-6 to Sterling, and not very many people thought this Paulsboro team could turn out as well as it has.
Their only other defeat, of course, to Haddon Township, one of the co-winners of the Colonial Conference. And another just straight-ahead power plunge with Brian Dick. DeSimone and Antolini make the stop, but not until Dick gets 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
You know, Dick is not a fancy runner. Nothing fancy at all about his footwork. Not great speed, but he has great balance and tremendous second effort. Always manages to get the extra yard or two. 180-pounder. He's a big one.
And just a junior who'll have another year. Now Worthy straight ahead. Andy Stewart finally wraps him up. Jay Falkenstein comes from the linebacking spot, but he's going to be close to another 1st down.
Close to another 1st down. Official timeout for measurement.
And they're going to bring the chains out one more time. Our second measurement on this drive. And Glassboro fans just sitting back, Bob, somewhat shocked at the relative ease with Paulsboro handling that defense for Glassboro. They come up short again by about the same margin. So one more time, we'll have a third down and short yardage situation. In this situation before, Petrus kept it. He'll do it again, and he'll just drive ahead. And Dissimony, number 60, comes across, grabs him from behind, but he'll have the first down, and Paulsboro will continue their drive.
Paulsboro running a clinic so far, right up the pike every time. And 3 first downs so far in the first period, and they're making it look easy. Glassboro line not handling the Paulsboro offensive line yet.
All right, let's mark it now at the Glassboro 27-yard line. Mark Cooper splits out to the near side. Sean Hartman's in the slot in that direction. There's movement on the right side. Hampton, number 75, the right tackle, jump. That'll cause a dead ball infraction and cost Paulsboro 5 yards. That'll temporarily slow down the Red Raiders. 4:33 left to play in the first period with the 2-0 lead for Paulsboro.
Don't see Mark Hampton make very many mistakes. He, of course, has been an all-group and all-South Jersey player for 2 years running, and one of the fine veterans on this Paulsboro football team.
He does a great job blocking up front, but he really took charge in the Thanksgiving Day game defensively in the second half.
First down and 15 for Paulsboro at the Bulldog 32-yard line.
First down, 15 yards to go. Ball now moved back beyond the 30-yard line. Motion Arlington across the backfield. Petrus with the long count, sprints in that direction. He throws, knocked away by Reese Peterson. Brian Dick, the intended receiver. He's covered well by number 60 for Glassboro, Joe Dissimony, but Reese Peterson with a chance to pick that one off and a lot of running room up the sideline.
Reese Peterson, an outstanding sophomore. There are a lot of really fine underclassmen in this football game, Mike. I was just looking at the rosters. 8 of the 16 players that John Avini starts offensively and defensively combined are underclassmen. On the Paulsboro side of the 15 offensive and defensive starters for the Raiders, 7 are underclassmen. So both teams will have a great number of veterans coming back next year.
All right, 4 defensive safeties now for Glassboro. Looking for the throw, setting up the screen. Brian Dick has it with blockers in front. Gentile, Hampton throw good blocks for him. And he's going to have a first down, and he's going to be down over the 20-yard line. Excellent play. Petrus maybe tipping it a little early, dropping as quickly as he did, but Glassboro not picking it up.
And that's, but it's set up beautifully. Everybody on the Paulsboro team congratulating Mark Hampton. He made the big block on that play, and Paulsboro back in good shape now. 3rd and short situation, 2 downs to make the next first.
We'll check it, of course. They had that penalty, which kept them from getting the first down, so it is 3rd. And Dick going back to the straight-ahead stuff. Jack Sampson has him and wrestles him down and tries to stop him before the first down. Let's wait and see where forward progress is marked.
That'll bring up 4th down.
Well, they're saying 4th down, maybe a little prematurely. And they are going to bring the chains in. John Lusko, for the 3rd time in this drive, wants to see if Paulsboro's made the first down.
Paulsboro in total control of the first period. And they just miss it again.
Well, this time it's 4th down and an inch and a half, let's call it. So
we'll see if
they've halved the distance.
Yeah. See if Petrus does the same thing he did on the other 2 3rd and short situations, which was simply sneak the ball. It's the safest play.
He's got Machowski in front of him at center. Machowski has been a strong blocker up front, and they're all bunched up in there looking for it. Petrus has it. He drives ahead, and no question about it, his forward progress, he'll have the first down.
Peterson on the top for Glassboro.
So let's mark the ball down around the 17-yard line. 1st and 10, 3:41 left to play. Paulsboro on top, 2-0.
Well, the time of possession in the first period overwhelmingly in favor of Paulsboro. Glassboro has only run 4 offensive plays.
Cooper and Arlington are the split men for Paulsboro. Scott stays in at tight end. They'll go with a quick hitter to the left. Brian Dick has it. He again is wrapped up by the linebackers. Antolini, Sampson comes up from the safety. Reese Peterson joins them from the halfback position, but he still gets good yardage, and they're just blowing the defensive tackles from Glassboro away.
Oh, this is a textbook drive. This is precisely the kind of drive that every coach loves. It eats up the clock, keep control of the football, and just drive it down the other team's gut, and that's exactly what Paulsboro is doing.
Now Glassboro changes the alignment, goes into a 6-man front, and they try and trap that. And DeSimone makes the tackle on Zach Worthy, trying to change up their defensive look. They'll get 2 yards out of it. It'll be 3rd down and 2 to go for the first down, and just inside the Glassboro 10-yard line. Brian Dick, and Dick nearly gets down to the goal line. Reese Peterson has to make the saving tackle, but once again they had an opening around 1.5 yards wide on that left side, and Brian Dick gets it down inside. 1st and goal, ball marked at the Glassboro 1-yard line. Just super blocking up front on the left side, and outstanding job being done by the line for Glassboro, or for Paulsboro. Packer, Paulson, and Scott on the left side. We'll go to Dick. Oh, he's going to be wrapped up this time. Glassboro looking strong on that straight-ahead charge. Beat the Paulsboro offensive line to the charge. Buddy Frank making the initial hit. Buddy Frank, the right defensive tackle, had such an outstanding day in the opening round game against Riverside. Having a tough going here in the early moments. First period. Petrus wants to sneak it ahead. Let's see if he can roll in. See if he penetrates. And it's going to be called touchdown, Paulsboro, and a late indication by the linesman. But in any event, with 1:45 left to play in the first period, it'll be Paulsboro 8, Glassboro nothing.
That was absolutely a great drive. That drive started on the Glassboro 49-yard line after the kickoff by Beebe following the safety, and Paulsboro used 18 plays in that drive to go 49 yards. That was an incredible drive.
Stalled once, of course, with a penalty, but got that back on the big screen play with the outstanding block thrown by Hampton to allow Dick to get down close to a first down. It's going to be up anyway after the fumble, but off to the side, and the kick of Jim Gentile will be no good, so the score will remain. Paulsboro 8, Glassboro nothing.
Well, in a way, that kind of the missed extra point there kind of negates the safety because, of course, you can have a 2-point conversion, and this means that Glassboro now can score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, and tie the game. Had the extra point been good, obviously Glassboro would have been forced to score twice to go ahead. So that's a big miss. Holder could not control the snap, and good try by Gentile, but it went wide. Some of the crowd here today in the Group 1 championship game. Fans lining the field, and it's good to see this crowd out here, Mike.
Well, not quite as large as the traditional day, Thanksgiving Day crowd, but an outstanding one here, and good support being shown to both teams, as each community, of course, hoping to have that South Jersey championship trophy in their trophy case following today's game. Dubzanski now ready to kick off number 41 for Paulsboro, and again Sampson will be the lone deep safety. Up 10 yards from him, Pete Lester and McCant. Good kick this time. It'll drive Sampson back to the 2-yard line. Sampson looking for a hole in the middle, and Jack falls ahead up over the 30-yard line. Let's see if they mark it there. It'll be a Glassboro first down, so somewhere around a 29-yard return for Jack Sampson.
And Royce Hampton got a piece of him. Again, he did not make the clean tackle, but he got a piece of him. Sampson had been averaging 29 yards on kickoff returns, including the 88-yarder against Riverside. But again, Sampson, for the second straight time, gets a piece of the kickoff tackle.
All right, mark it at the 29.5-yard line. Young with Reese Peterson and Sampson behind him. They'll fake this time to Sampson. They're going to throw out in the flat to Peterson, and Peterson has it off his hands. And it'll fall incomplete. Excellently run pattern, good faking and deception in the backfield, and maybe a pass that should have been completed.
That was probably the second pass that Glassboro receivers should have caught. That would have been a good catch, but again, Young right on target for the second straight time, and they'll start catching these balls. He has a fleet of fine receivers, and they've been successful all season long at complementing that fine running game with a good passing game.
Dave Young, 5'11", 175-pound senior quarterback, hasn't got the ink in the early part of the season, at least for Glassboro, but an awful lot of people have come to recognize him as one of the most steady performers at quarterback throughout South Jersey. This time he fakes, looks, he's going to be charged, and he's going to be knocked down for a big loss. I think they were setting up a screenplay then, Bob. It looked like the fullback slipped as he gave him the fake.
And you see the two people in there that we've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 games we've seen Paulsboro. Number 41, Bob Dobzhansky. Number 75, Mark Hampton. They're big defensive linemen, and Glassboro simply is not handling them off the ball. They have excellent speed, and they're getting to the quarterback very quickly.
Final minute of play in the first period. Clock moving with 46 seconds remaining. Chaffee, the center, number 66, will bring the team out to the line of scrimmage. Young will send Chris Harris and Brian Barrett in a slot formation to the far side. He'll split McCant to the near side. He wants a throw screen. It's going to be intercepted by Tortella of Paulsboro. Reese Peterson unable to get the ball. And what a defensive play made by the defensive left end of Paulsboro.
That's a great interception, but again, the pressure from the line. Glassboro, again, not containing that Paulsboro the defensive rush, and they're getting to the quarterback. They forced the bad pass that time. And at this point in the football game, the Paulsboro line, offensively and defensively, the difference. Jim Tortella, only 140-pounder, 5'7", but fine player. Now Paulsboro leading 8-0 with a chance to get some more.
Sean Hartman split to the near side. Cooper to the far side. Petrus maybe to look for one of them. Goes to Cooper over near the out-of-bounds mark and the goal line. It'll be overthrown. Pete Lester covering on the play, but Petrus trying to come back with that textbook call also, Bob. You get a big turnover, and you want to go for the big play right away. Hope for a letdown on the defensive side.
That's right. That was an excellent call, and Cooper was free out there, too. Simply overthrown by Petrus, but Paulsboro thoroughly dominant in the first period.
Greg Canan, number 72, now going in at the defensive position. Number 72 playing at a interior line position for Glassboro. They'll fake again, this time on the option. Zach Worthy has it, being chased by Payne, number 70. He catches up with him, but Hapgroff is over there to help out on the tackle with Antolini. But Worthy gets some yardage. That'll do it. It'll run the quarter out. It'll be a third down situation at the 10-yard line, around 4 to go. When we come back with more action in the second period, Paulsboro 8, Glassboro nothing. With Bob Shryock at Marv Slomsky Memorial Field in Glassboro, I'm Mike Lindner. It's the South Jersey Group 1 Championship final game. Paulsboro with an outstanding first quarter leads at this point 8-0 over Glassboro. They've really had the run of the game so far, and now following an interception by Tortella, they're down again in striking distance. It'll be a 3rd down and 5 at the Glassboro 11-yard line. Petrus wants to get it in the air. Brian Dick on the screen pass. This time it's diagnosed beautifully by Glassboro. Buddy Frank, Hapgroff come across to make the stop. It'll be a 4th down situation, a couple of yards to go for the first down. And what do you think the chance of a field goal? I don't see any movement on the far side.
Well, they would be kicking into the wind. Perhaps they're not going to go for it because of that situation, but 11-0 would look very big, which I think Tom Brown has so much confidence in his offense right now after that strong first period that he feels he can pick up the 2 yards. Play coming in from Arlington, and we'll see what Tom Brown calls.
Well, Arlington will split far out to the left side. Cooper will be to the near side. They're going to go with a quick hitter with Brian Dick. He's going to have the first down. Sampson finally stops him, keeps him from going in for the score, but again, a cross left tackle with excellent blocking out there by Paulson and Packer on the left side, and they get the first down.
And it's hard to read precisely where the ball is. I believe it's the 2-yard line, Mike. Jack Sampson may be slightly injured on that play. He's still down on his right knee.
Well, Glassboro calls a timeout to regroup, and this is very, very important, of course. They were able to negate the safety that was awarded to Paulsboro in the early going by denying them the extra point. They'd like to keep it at 8-0, but the way Paulsboro has been going here, looks like it's going to be a very, very tough chore for Glassboro.
No, it's been all Paulsboro so far. Glassboro in this football game so far, and we played about 13 minutes, has only managed to run 5 plays.
The 22nd football game of the season for Channel 5. It's been a great season for us here to bring all these great high school and college football games to you, and we're getting excited as we're making our plans for the winter sports coming up, and we'll be out all week long taping games over the next couple of weeks, a big slate of basketball and wrestling coming up.
And we'll be starting with a game at Gloucester County College on Tuesday night. Gloucester County playing an outstanding opponent from Maryland, Baltimore Community College.
Gloucester County starting off the season in a super shape so far, 5-1 in the early going as we're taping this game, and really been blowing opponents away in the early part of the season. Back to game action now, 1st and goal. It'll be Worthy, he'll try and get it. Reese Peterson will make the stops after Sampson makes an initial hit. He may get a half a yard or so, but it'll bring up a 2nd down. And the ball getting closer to the goal line now. Looks to be about at the 1.5 yard line.
2nd and goal, Paulsboro at the Bulldog 2. Petrus brings it up.
All right, Petrus will have Worthy and Brian Dick behind him. This time Brian Dick, oh, does he get hit by Reese Peterson?
2 plays in a row by Peterson. Tremendous sophomore.
So it'll be a 3rd down. They get closer. This time maybe a half a yard at the most to go for the touchdown. Now Sean Hartman, number 82, will come into your picture from the left side, carrying in the play. He gives it to Petrus. Petrus has him out of the huddle quickly. This team knows what they want to do today, Bob. No hesitation at all. Hartman and Scott, tight ends. Brian Dick. Brian Dick just goes across the left side this time. He's hit a couple of times. A little problem out on the field. Tempers begin to flare, but that'll be quickly turned away. And Brian Dick has the touchdown. Glassboro unable to stop Paulsboro here.
I think Paulsboro has lost one of its best players. John Gentile, number 64, I think has been thrown out of the football game. He's very upset over in the sideline. He can't believe it. He's been a tremendous player for Paulsboro. I believe he's been ejected from this game, Mike.
Well, number 65, Dave Berman, quickly comes into the huddle. With the score, of course, 14-0. Let's see where the penalty is assessed. There will be a touchdown, and then a dead ball foul following the touchdown, and unsportsmanlike conduct.
Tom Brown, the Paulsboro coach, looking for an explanation of the ejection of his player over in the sideline. John Lesko, the referee, talking now to Tom Brown. Bill Esterlin in the white shirt to the right, also indicating he doesn't understand what happened. He's the defensive coordinator for Paulsboro. The call was illegal use of hands.
Now Lesko coming across to talk to Gianavini.
Well, regardless, the touchdown by Brian Dick counts with 10:16 to play in the 2nd quarter. Paulsboro now on top 14-0. The penalty has not been assessed yet. We don't know whether there's going to be assessed on the kickoff.
Apparently, because they're not moving it.
They're going to go for 2.
And they're in a power I formation to the right side. Petrus wants to throw it. He's got his man wide open. It's going to be taken over there. Mark Cooper makes the reception. No question about that one. He just fooled McCant, the defensive halfback, and had a 8-yard lead on him. They get the 2 points. It'll be Paulsboro 16, Glassboro nothing. 10:16 remaining to play in the first half.
Same kind of script we had in the Thanksgiving game. We talked about that game, but it was such a tremendous game, and of course, same 2 teams involved. In that game, Glassboro jumped out to the early lead, 13-0, controlled the football in the first period. That's what Paulsboro has done today. The Raiders with a safety, then 2 touchdowns behind that, the 2-point conversion here, 16-0, and Glassboro really has its work cut out for itself, and we'll see now if John Avini can get his team to regroup, get a nice drive together, and get back in this football game. But Paulsboro so far has had no difficulty at all moving the football.
What happened, of course, apparently on that penalty, Bob, is that it was assessed, but since it's down and it's a dead ball foul, it's only a half a distance penalty to the goal line. So instead of going from the 3, Paulsboro, of course, had the opportunity to go from the 1.5, which that's what I was going to say, and now the official is explaining it for me better. I'm obviously wrong again.
Now the 15-yarder assessed on the kickoff against Paulsboro.
Yes, that's right.
So this is a break of sorts for Glassboro, because now Dobzhansky has to kick into the wind, and Glassboro should emerge from this with good field position for the first time today.
Well, thank you for asking me to explain that prior to what. 16-0 Paulsboro lead in any event. Dobzhansky. Sampson has it at his own 25-yard line. Sampson with the speed this time has it out nearly to midfield. He'll have the ball to the Glassboro 49-yard line. The Bulldogs will have it there, 1st and 10.
Now the first good chance for Glassboro to get something going. They've been in rotten field position the whole first half. They're down 16-0, but they have an outstanding offense. They can run the ball, they can throw it. We've seen that all season long, and we'll see now if John Avini can bring his team back.
Young will take Chris Harris this time and split him to the far side. He opens his backfield. Sampson and Peterson at halfback positions. Goes with Jack on a quick hitter. Sampson is ready to play football, no question about it, Bob. I think you saw it on the kickoff return the last time, and he just wanted the ball that time. He's going to get great yardage out of it. Gets enough for the first down.
We've seen that all season long, too. You can tell when Jack Sampson really gets with a football game, and right now he's decided to take charge. He does not like what the scoreboard says. His team down 16-0. He wants the football, and he just wants to take over right here.
All right, Kevin Walker's into the ball game for the first time today. He's split to the left side. Chris Harris now, who's had an ankle injury bothering him all week, is split to the far side. Now Peterson and Sampson open up again behind Young. And this time Reese will have the ball. Reese will try to right side. There's a penalty flag thrown late. He gets a couple of yards out of it, but wait and see the preliminary call.
Preliminary signal against the Bulldogs.
It'll be a hold, and that's going to hurt things for Glassboro and maybe force Young to the air.
Well, that reverses the momentum a little bit that Sampson had given him with the kickoff return and the fine run on the first play from scrimmage. Adolphus Scott talking to the officials. Adolphus Scott, all-conference player for Paulsboro High School. Just had a tremendous year. Five different players from Paulsboro made the Colonial Conference All-Star team. And of course, Glassboro had many of its players on the Olympic Conference team, 7 of them making the football team.
Well, this is going to bring it back now to the Paulsboro 49-yard line, where it'll be a 1st and long, 25 yards to go for the first down, 9:20 and time moving here in the first half. This time a slot formation. Sampson in the slot to the far side. Young to Chris Harris. Williams has a block on Paulson, but that's not going to stop the Paulsboro defense from sealing that play off quickly, and it'll be another loss. The ball marked now on the Glassboro side of the 50-yard line.
Well, Harris may be running a little bit tentatively. Of course, he's been a fine player for Glassboro, too. Last night at the annual Glassboro High School Fall Awards dinner, Chris Harris was named the most courageous player on the Glassboro football team. Other awards went to Jack Sampson as outstanding back, Buddy Frank as outstanding offensive lineman, Andy Stewart on the defensive line, Walt Peterson for the defensive backs, and David Young and Rick McCant most improved.
All right, Walt Peterson is the tight end. Brian Barrett the split end. Kevin Walker in the slot. Young to throw. Looking downfield, and somebody ran the wrong pattern, or Young was just getting rid of it. It's going to fall incomplete and bring up a 3rd down for Glassboro.
Tough way to play football now. Glassboro with 3rd and very long to go, down 16-0. They need a big play to get them back in this football game.
Well, they've got plenty of time, of course. Time stopped now at 8:24 remaining to play in the first half. And as you pointed out, Glassboro getting the 2 touchdowns early against Paulsboro. And with around 5 minutes remaining in the first half on Thanksgiving Day, that's when Paulsboro really came to life. So let's see if we have the same kind of thing happen here as the first half will wind down. Young across the middle, knocked up in the air by Adolphus Scott from the linebacker slot, and Hampton came across, number 40, Royce Hampton, and nearly picked it off. It'll be a 4th down. Glassboro's going to have to punt.
Glassboro lucky there that the ball was not intercepted. The ball tipped in an area where usually the ball is intercepted, but again the Raider defense holds, and Glassboro's going to be forced to punt. And so far today, Glassboro's defense has been unable to stop the Paulsboro running game.
Dave Young will be the punter for Glassboro, as he's been all year long. Young averages a 30-yard punt, but he's got good height out of this one, and Anderson will take it, try to take it, and fumble it. He's finally going to be covered by Happy Groff downfield, and nearly a disastrous play for Paulsboro. Willie Anderson having trouble, Bob, with that one.
Well, this time Paulsboro now has to start from horrendous defensive or horrendous spot on the field. And that punt by Young was almost blocked by number 75, Mark Hampton. Again, showing his tremendous speed. He almost got a piece of that ball.
Paulsboro takes over somewhere around the 7-yard line, deep in their own territory. Petrus still the quarterback. Brian Dick and Zach Worthy still the running backs. Worthy tries to leap over the line, but Glassboro stiffens here. And tackles made by number 72, Greg Canan.
Oh, this is a big defensive series for Glassboro. 7:45 to play in the half. Glassboro down 16-0, but Paulsboro with very poor field position, and if Glassboro can hold on this series and force the punt, Glassboro should emerge again with a fine spot on the field.
All right, Adolphus Scott having an equipment problem, and it's amazing, the mirror of the Thanksgiving Day game, Bob. Glassboro had the ball in a situation nearly the same time in the second quarter in the Thanksgiving Day game, and as they drove up maybe another 10 yards from here, they threw a pass. It went off Brian Barrett's leg and bounced into the arms of a Paulsboro player.
Adolphus Scott, and reversed the momentum of the game.
Yes, and now Petrus throwing it in this. Dissimony nearly coming up with a big break for Glassboro over in the far side, and he not only would have reversed the momentum, he would have gone in with a touchdown.
Great pressure by number 66, Bill Chiaffi, on that play too. That could have really backfired on Paulsboro. I think Glassboro's defense getting with it, I believe.
All right, third down now. 9 yards to go for the first down. Ball around the 8-yard line.
Big play now for the Glassboro defense. They do not want to permit a first down and give Paulsboro a chance to keep control of that football, which they've done the whole first half.
All right, official timeout as they set the ball. John Lusko now blows the whistle, winds the clock. Petrus to throw from deep in his own territory, throwing it upfield, and looking for Adolphus Scott. He's covered well by Walt Peterson, and it falls incomplete. There's a late penalty flag. Paulsboro does not look pleased.
Preliminary signal against Paulsboro.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against Paulsboro. We didn't see what happened because it was away from the ball, but obviously something happened after Petrus threw the football.
No, it was an unsportsmanlike call by Lusko.
It's really amazing. Paulsboro is controlling this football game. They've already had one of their best players thrown out of the game. They got an unsportsmanlike call at a very difficult spot on the field.
May well have been some angry words spoken to the referee Lusko by one of the players, because it didn't look like there was any contact going on back there. But that's going to move them back half the distance to the goal line. The ball will be around the 4-yard line now, and it'll be a fourth down, and they'll have to punt from there.
Well, Paulsboro winning in spite of itself so far. They've made a couple of unsportsmanlike situations that have not helped them at all. Now Dubzanski has to punt from just about the back of the end zone line.
Jack Sampson and Rick McCant will stand deep to await the punt, and there's going to be a mistake by Glassboro. Looks like number 85, Happy Groff, the left end, moved across the line of scrimmage. Of course, that costs them 5 yards and takes some of the pressure off Dubzanski. At least he won't have to worry about the back line unless he gets a bad snap.
Well, they've drawn the enemy offside so often this season on that particular set, and it does give Dubzanski a little bit more room. But again, he's punting into the wind, and unless he really gets off a boomer here, Glassboro should find itself in good field position again.
Dubzanski this time stands around 5 yards deep in his own end zone. Petrus is the lone man in the backfield to block for him. Glassboro trying to set up a return. McCann has it and is hit immediately. And he's fortunate to hold on to it.
Wow.
Excellent.
Amazed he could hold on to the ball.
Brian Dick quickly downfield covering. We've got another penalty flag. Unsportsmanlike this time against Glassboro.
That's amazing.
Well, we saw tempers flare after that last Paulsboro touchdown, and John Lusko's been around football long enough to know that that can lead to some problems, and maybe you've got to be a little extra careful and watch everything that's going on, and that might explain maybe these two calls. But that'll calm things down, I think, make sure that all the players on both teams are just thinking about playing football.
Oh, this is going to take away some of that good field position Glassboro had, 15 yards. They were in a fine spot on the field at the 32-yard line.
$7:18 left to play in the first half. Paulsboro on top 16-0. Ball at the Paulsboro 49-yard line. This is where we saw a Paulsboro drive started for a touchdown. Let's see if Glassboro is able to duplicate that feat. Young will put Brian Barrett, the split end, to the near side. Chris Harris as a wing back to the far side. He'll go to Reese Peterson, but it's going to be a fumble. It looks like Paulsboro recovery.
Bad connection.
Second time Peterson's had trouble with his footing out there. And both times caused problems. Once when they wanted to go to a screen, Young had to take a long loss. And now here as Dave tries to give him the handoff, unable to make the proper connection.
Never had control of the football, and everything going Paulsboro's way now. They get the ball back at their own 48. 16-0, 6:50 to go in the half.
Petrus has him at the 47. He wants to throw. He looks to Cooper on the out-and-up pattern. Cooper's got a step, but it's an excellent defensive play made by Pete Lester. Cooper had a step on Lester there, Bob. He came down around 15 yards, ran an out pattern, and then turned up behind Lester, and Pete recovered beautifully to make that defensive play.
Excellent play by Lester. Only a sophomore. They call him Sweets on this football team, and Jack Sampson back there, too, to help out.
So Paulsboro obviously not content with the 16-point lead. Plenty of time, of course, to play here in the first half. 6:37 showing on the clock. But they continue to now move to the air. We've seen that the last time, even having the confidence to throw when they had the ball inside their own 10-yard line. Arlington this time in a slot with Cooper. They'll go the other way with Dick. Chaffee comes across with Falkenstein to make the stop for Glassboro. Paulsboro will get a yard or two out of it. It'll be a 3rd down and 8.
Glassboro's defense definitely has regrouped since Paulsboro completely dominated the first period, but particularly with that 18-play drive that consumed 49 yards and went in for a touchdown.
Groff, Stewart, Chaffee, Frank, and DeCimini still the front 5 for Glassboro. Linebackers drop deep. DeCimini's in, but quickly Dick is over there where he vacated the spot on the screen. So it was a race there, Bob, between Petrus, the quarterback, and DeCimini, the defensive end, to see if they could get that screen pass off. And Petrus came up the winner on that one. Brian Dick picking up the first down for Paulsboro.
I think Brian Dick is improving every game we see him, and remember, he's only a junior. He follows his blocking very well. He's kind of a quiet, unobtrusive player, but he's really done the job for the Raiders this season.
Has the first down for Paulsboro at the Glassboro 39-yard line. Zach Worthy has good running room, gets maybe 5 yards before Reese Peterson makes the tackle. Back to the quick openers. And again, they're just closing down the defensive tackles on the Glassboro line.
I think Glassboro people are a little bit stunned so far at the one-sidedness of this football game. Glassboro on top by 16 and driving, or Paulsboro on top.
Brian Dick on the counter play through the middle. Gets another first down for Paulsboro.
Along with Ross for Glassboro.
More evidence of the Paulsboro offensive line controlling this football game.
They tried Todd Payne again at left defensive tackle, number 70. See if he's able to solve the problems. And blocking there, Adolpha Scott just moved him away in the last play. They're going to go that direction again. And Walt Peterson along with Antolini are able to cause a fumble, and apparently Glassboro's gotten it out there. And I didn't see the ball pop loose, but Todd Payne, number 70, the player we pointed out, comes up with the fumble recovery on that play. Glassboro stops this drive and has a chance with 4:50 to play to maybe pick up a score and tighten this ball game up.
We may have a Glassboro injury. I think Reese Peterson may be hurt, number 45. They don't want to miss him. He's played a fine first half.
Well, they went back to that opener, a quick dive off the right side that time, but Glassboro was ready for it. And with a good hit from the secondary and somebody wrapping him around the legs also, they're able to force the fumble and get the recovery.
A lot of turnovers in this game, an indication of the good hitting on both sides. Reese Peterson is the one who was hurt for Glassboro. It'll be absolutely the final game in the Glassboro-Paulsboro series, Mike, unless they meet again in the Group 1 championship next year, because, of course, as we've mentioned before, their Thanksgiving Day series that spans so many decades ended this past Thanksgiving with the 21-19 Paulsboro win. Reese Peterson off the field seems to be okay. He'll rest for a play and probably go back in.
Mark the ball at the Glassboro 24-yard line, 1st and 10. Harris, number 21, is at a wingback position. They're going to throw it quickly out to Brian Barrett on the sideline, covered by Zach Worthy, and Young's pass
is completed to John Avini.
I guess you never lose it. Quick reactions on the sideline. John Avini, an outstanding college and professional football player.
Played, of course, at Indiana, then went on to the pros to be a successful place kicker for the Chicago Bears and Washington Redskins.
Joe Spinelli, number 33, now in at fullback, replacing the injured Peterson temporarily. Sampson is not going to get anything on the right side. He's wrapped up over there by Kenny Packer, number 51. Dubzanski, again, Bob, having no trouble at that nose guard position, and he's just having a ball today and driving Chiaffi, the center for Glassboro, crazy.
A lot of people think that one of the things that made the difference in the Paulsboro football team this year as the season progressed and the team got better and better was the play of Dubzanski. He was not that much of a factor in the early part of the year, but he has really come into his own defensively in the last 4 or 5 football games and has been a very dominant player.
Young will have a 3rd down. He'll bring Walt Peterson in motion. He'll fake to him. Look to throw. Looking downfield for Happy Groff. Groff makes an outstanding catch near midfield and picks up an important Glassboro 1st down. He has it out to the 49-yard line. He was well covered, Bob, by Miller over there and still came up with the catch.
Just a good throw and a good catch, and as you said, nothing wrong with the coverage on the play. Well, Glassboro finally getting a completion. Young with the big season passing. We mentioned before he's unsung, but he's passed for 940 yards on the year coming into this game. That's a pretty good season.
All right, this time Young puts Sampson on a wing to the near side and has Kevin Walker split to the far side. It's going to be a reverse to Sampson. Sampson has trouble with it, picks it up, gets a good block by the quarterback Young, and gets great yardage out of it after what looked like would be a busted play. But credit Dave Young with an outstanding block on the far side.
You don't usually see the quarterback make a block like that, but that was a key play. And, of course, Jack Sampson showing he can dribble the ball as well as run it. That came right back to him, and he made a nice gain out of it.
16-0, 2nd quarter action, 3 minutes and 11 seconds to play. Official timeout on the field. Let's see what John Lusko has in mind. Dubzanski goes to the sideline, and he is replaced by Randy Minix, number 60, in the middle. So apparently a helmet problem, some kind of equipment problem on the far side for Dubzanski. Glassboro quickly come up to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 1 now. Kevin Walker, Brian Barrett split to the near side. Walker in the slot. Young's going to throw again. A lot of pressure. And it's going to be picked off by Miller at the 20. Miller with good yardage on the left side. Penalty flags thrown all over the place. Miller gets it all the way back to the Glassboro 45-yard line. But there are 2 penalty flags down at the 35-yard line in Paulsboro territory.
Well, that play started with an incredible blitz by Adolphus Scott. He came in there like he was running a 100-yard dash and absolutely leveled Young and forced that bad pass that was intercepted by Miller. But Adolphus Scott's blitz on that play, the difference.
I don't know if we'll see that one again, but he was coming. He wound up around 15 yards, it looked like, from behind the line of scrimmage and started running and never got touched. Lusko now backing up, showing good agility. A clip against Paulsboro. It'll be 15 yards from the point of the foul. But Paulsboro will wind up with the football.
Turnovers plaguing Glassboro today. That's 3 against the Bulldogs.
They'll have it at their own 20-yard line.
About their own 21-yard line.
Just when it appeared Glassboro might be going in for its first score, another turnover, and Paulsboro with the ball in the 16-0 lead.
Of course, they had a long way to go, but I think we're feeling the momentum that other people sensed also a couple of times now for Glassboro. Brian Dick running the ball, Todd Payne, Falkenstein or Buddy Frank on the tackle, along with Reese Peterson, who's back in there now, number 45. 2-yard gain. We're now coming up on the 2 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the half. Now Falkenstein comes into the ballgame, number 57, replacing Reese Peterson.
Tom Brown has to make a decision here whether he wants to be conservative and try to run out the clock and hold the 16-0 lead, or put the ball in the air and try to get some more.
Well, Petrus looks like a busted play. Went one way, his running backs went the other way. Hapcroft, Falkenstein wrap him up in the backfield. It'll be a loss, and Glassboro quickly calls a timeout, as it's a 3rd down and around 11 yards to go for the first down, and they want to get another chance with the football, maybe take a chance at blocking a punt, getting a good run back, one or the other, but they want another chance.
They have a lot of time, 1:53 to go, and if they can hold this down, of course, they'll force the punt, and as good a punter as Dobzhansky is, he's kicking into a wind, and Glassboro certainly should have the ball somewhere around midfield. Kind of an unusual first half. I don't think we anticipated the dominance that we've seen from Paulsboro or from either team in this game so far, but Paulsboro has been totally in control of the game. Paulsboro 8-2 on the season, trying to defend its Group 1 championship. Glassboro 7-3, here for the first time since 1979 75 when the Bulldogs defeated Palmyra 21-0 for the Group 1 title.
Petrus will face the 3rd and 11, and is going to try to throw. Looking upfield, has it off of Scott, has the first down and more, and he's out over the 45-yard line, out to the 47, out of bounds, stops the clock, 1:45 to play, and nothing conservative about that call.
That's a classy play. You anticipated perhaps Paulsboro running the ball, trying to make sure that they gained control of the ball and punted, but they throw it, risk the interception, get the first down, and now Paulsboro with a chance with 1:45 to go to go in and score some more.
First and 10, Red Raiders. Ball at the Paulsboro 47-yard line. Mark Cooper splits to the near side. And Petrus to throw again. Throwing across the middle, it's going to be picked off this time by Jay Falkenstein. Falkenstein looking for the left sideline. He'll be driven down, but not until he gives Glassboro possession again. Tackle made by Dave Berman, number 65. But Glassboro is going to have it now at the Paulsboro 44-yard line.
This is an error-plagued game. A lot of turnovers on both teams. That's 3 against each. And Glassboro again with 1:31 to go and the clock counting. A chance to get back in this football game.
All right, Kevin Walker splits in a slot formation with Brian Barrett to the near side. Everybody else in tight for Glassboro. They're going to run the ball with Sampson, or try anyway, and Mark Hampton wraps him up. He gets no more than a yard or so. Clock continues to run. It'll approach the 1-minute mark before Glassboro even gets back into the huddle. 1:05 and counting.
Well, they're going to have to put the ball in the air.
1 minute left to play here, and they're certainly taking their time.
And the clock is still counting. They don't seem to be in much of a hurry at all. 50 seconds to go.
McCann is the wing back to the far side. Kevin Walker the split end to the near side. They'll fake to Sampson. Young looking to throw downfield, looking for McCann, and Miller's over there again and nearly picks it off at the 20-yard line. That'll stop the clock, 36 seconds to play. It'll remain 3rd down now, 8 yards to go for the first down. And Glassboro, somewhat uncharacteristically, Bob, going for the long passes in these obvious passing situations. Generally, you'll see Avini sending in the short hooks and the sideline patterns, and he knows how to take a team downfield in a short time situation.
They're running out of time now with the 36 seconds to go. They don't have time for too many sideline patterns. I think they wasted about 20 seconds in there after that first running play.
All right, Stewart and Frank at tackle. Williams at Dissimony at guard. And Chaffee at center will have to try and give Young time. And Young now looks over the situation and is forced to waste a timeout as he sees something he doesn't like. And Gianavini's going to have to maintain total control, Bob, because he's got to be somewhat frustrated at that situation, knowing he needs the timeouts and having one called under those circumstances with the clock already stopped.
That's right. They gave one away there, and John not very happy about it. There's Bill Esterlin in the Paulsboro defensive huddle. Bill Esterlin, the defensive coordinator for Paulsboro, has just done a tremendous job this season. The Raiders, with one of the fine defenses in South Jersey, only in 2 games have they given up more than 1 touchdown, and the defense is credited with 5 shutouts this season.
And Esterlin, of course, an interesting story himself, Bob, for a period of time an assistant coach in charge of the line at Glassboro High School. Bill, of course, traveled to Deptford High School, had a head coaching experience there, and still teaches at Deptford, but now an assistant at Paulsboro. Gianavini, of course, with long roots in Glassboro history.
Of course, John was a player here and a basketball coach here. He's an administrator now at Glassboro High School, very much part of this community. And he's patting his quarterback, Dave Young, on the back, and hopeful of getting one here just before halftime.
Well, 36 seconds to do it as they come out of the huddle with Jack Sampson and Walt Peterson split to the near side. Kevin Walker and Brian Barrett split to the far side. Reese Peterson, the only remaining man in the back. And he'll go with the draw to Peterson. That's an excellent play, and that'll pick up a Glassboro first down, and we'll stop the clock for a few seconds while they adjust the chains on the far side. Let's see how quickly Glassboro can get up on the line of scrimmage. Clock running as soon as they set the chains. Now it's wound. It's under 30 seconds. It'll be at the 25-second mark now. Some confusion out there. Brian Barrett quickly over into a set position on the far side. Young barking the signals. Drops the throw, goes to Barrett on the sideline. He gets it and is out of bounds, stops the clock. 13 seconds to go. He picks up 5 yards. It'll be a 2nd down and 5.
The draw was a good call on the previous play because he got the first down, but 13 seconds to go. Glassboro with time for 2 plays, perhaps 3, but more likely it is 2 plays, so they're going to have to come up with something that can fire the ball in the end zone.
All right. Let's see the last player, next to last play, coming up right now. Not time for too many.
Well, Glassboro with some fine receivers. We've seen Kevin Walker, number 42, score a couple touchdowns this season. Brian Barrett, number 41, an excellent receiver.
Walker's in the slot. Barrett's the split end. Young fakes to Peterson. Going to go to the end zone, looking for Brian Barrett. It'll be incomplete. Barrett running a post pattern and Young throwing in the other direction.
8 seconds to go. They may have time for 2 more. That play only used 5 seconds.
And they're thinking end zone, of course, apparently here. They won't take a chance at catching the ball in the field of play and maybe getting great yardage, but being tackled, wrapped up, and not enough time to get another play off. Rick McCant, number 22, brings the play into the huddle. Sampson comes to the sidelines. Receivers will be Walt Peterson, Kevin Walker, Brian Barrett. Young with time this time. Coming to Rick McCann on the sideline, and it falls incomplete and stops the clock at 3 seconds to play.
Excellent job by the defensive secondary of Paulsboro. Royce Hampton in there all over Walt Peterson. He didn't have a chance. Bob Miller, a fine 2-way player for the Raiders all season. He was doing a job on Barrett. Excellent coverage by the Paulsboro secondary. So time for just one more play, and again, though, this time Young has to go into the end zone. Jack Sampson coming back in with the play, and you have to figure in a situation like this, they're going to be looking for their bread and butter player, Jack Sampson.
All right, it's a 4th down situation in any event. 5 to go for the first down, which is academic. The ball at the Paulsboro 29-yard line. And there's a penalty flag. Looks like it's going to cost them 5 more for a delay. Delay of the game. Took too much time. They'll move it back 5 more yards. Stay with us at halftime by Shryock. We'll have an interesting halftime guest. Gentleman who's seen many, many Glassboro Paulsboro games, John Polillo. Young now ready for this last play. Throwing it up deep. Looking downfield for Walker, and it'll be knocked away. Excellent defensive coverage in the secondary. That'll end it. That'll finish the first half of play. Paulsboro's on top 16-0. We'll be back with halftime activities following these messages.
Halftime of the Group 1 championship game between Paulsboro and Glassboro, and somewhat surprisingly, Paulsboro an easy 16-0 leader so far in the first half of the football game. My guest at halftime, John Polillo, the voice of Glassboro High School. Been the voice of Glassboro High for about 20 years, John, is that correct?
That's correct.
And of course, John, a former player at Glassboro High and has seen many of these Glassboro-Paulsboro games over the season. John, some of the games in the series that stand out in your mind.
A 1968 game when Glassboro was 8-1 that year, and Paulsboro played here. A lot of tremendous kids that played here. Henderson twins, Coach McCulley, who's now coaching down below, and Cordetti. And they had a great fullback at Paulsboro, Steve Michaelchak, which is now coaching at West Defford. I remember the one play where had a capacity crowd here, and it was like 4th down and 1. Michael Chuck was going to carry. It would have meant whether they could go on and sustain the drive that they had. He met Bruce Henderson head on right at the line of scrimmage, and Bruce Henderson knocked him out. It was just knocked him back and kept him from getting the first down.
John, who are some of the, you just mentioned some fine players, of course, but some of the outstanding players that you remember down through the years playing for Glassboro High School?
1975, the championship year, when we went 11-0, John Mancini had to have been one of the greatest football players we had that year. They called him the franchise, and he certainly was the franchise. He more or less kept that team together, and then when they needed a first down or a key tackle, John Mancini came through and made the tackle or caught the ball. A couple other players like that we go further back. We had some Glassboro kids are usually blessed with a lot of talent here. We had some good kids. They usually got a lot of speed. We're always blessed with great speed with the kids we have here at Glassboro. They're coachable kids, and they cooperate, and they always look well on the football field. They had some Dave Dorn now, who is at Rutgers. I think he's in his senior year. He had an outstanding year when he played. He played on that championship team. You had Billy Pierce, Louis Cordetti, kids that were just great receiver and great running back. And I think Louis Cordetti in his senior year was a scoring champion of South Jersey. That year, I think we did, if I'm not mistaken, we scored around 350 some odd points. We had a lot of outstanding kids here. Lou Mancini, John Mancini's brother, Carl Hines, Randy Scott, Paul Manganaro, just to mention a few. We had some pretty good quarterbacks, and going back in 1964, when Jim Doyle was here, we were 8-1 that year. Butch McCounts was a quarterback that year. Fred Tartaglione the following year, and we came ringing all up. We had guys that could just do whatever they was asked to do. They were real coachable kids.
John, progress tells us that the Glassboro and Paulsboro can't play anymore, at least on Thanksgiving Day. Of course, we could see them right back here for the Group 1 championship again next year, because both will have a lot of players returning. What do you think of progress that would do something like that to a series like this one?
Well, I think that showed Thanksgiving Day. We had a capacity crowd here, and the rivalry really means a lot. It started back in 1922, and it's a shame.
Were you around then, John?
No, sir.
Oh.
But I imagine they did have one terrific game back here. I think it was 99-6, and but I read about it, and I like to read about a lot of these rivalries. It's a shame that they have to discontinue because of conferences. It's a shame that they can't reorganize these conferences and make these teams play within the county. There's enough teams within the county that they can come up with a real good conference, North and Southern Division.
John, you put a lot into your announcing. Is it true that you want to replace Howard Cosell?
Oh, no.
You don't?
No, I don't really replace him. I just like doing the games here at Glassboro. I really like it.
Well, we really enjoy your efforts, too. You do a tremendous job. John, are you surprised to any degree at the score so far? I mean, Paulsboro really has been dominating this football game. That 18-play, 49-yard drive on the first touchdown was, I think, an indication of what their offensive line is doing. Are you surprised at how one-sided it is so far?
I really am surprised, because at practice the other day, the kids really looked up. I had a chance to come up and watch them practice a little bit. They looked like they were sky high for this game, and it really meant a lot to winning this game, being that the series is going to end today. And like you said, a possibility of them coming back next year to meet in the Group 1 championship game. But I think Coach Avani he isn't talking too soft in the locker room at halftime. I'm sure you'll see a difference when they come out here at halftime because, as true traditional Glassboro spirit, these kids never give up.
Well, you've been in a couple of those locker room discussions, I guess, before, haven't you? You think
Yes,
he's chewing them out a little bit, do you, John?
I think he's talking quite loud right now.
What's your prediction for the second half? What do you think is going to happen, John?
Well, I don't want to be biased. I would like to see Glassboro come back, and they lost it on Thanksgiving Day. They're down 16-0 now. I'd like to see them come back and win this ball game, regardless of if they win it by 1 or 6 or whatever. I think they're going to come back, but again, taking nothing away from Paulsboro. Paulsboro has a lot of outstanding kids that Bob Dodzinski just has to impress me. Last Thanksgiving Day, believe it or not, I think he should have gotten the award because he was just about in on every tackle, and if you can recall, when Glassboro was going for that 2-point conversion, he came from behind and made the tackle at the 2-yard line. So they got Cooper, and they got Petrus has done a tremendous job with Brian Dick and Zach Worthy. They're doing a tremendous job out there. They're not just going to roll over and play dead. They got the momentum. Glassboro's going to have to come up with a big play of their own to change the things around, and if they do, we might be in for a heck of a ball game this afternoon.
Well, John, listen, we really appreciate it very much, and for being our halftime guest, I want to present you with this gift certificate to Joe's Sub Shop.
I appreciate that, and I will use it.
John Polillo, the voice of Glassboro High School. We'll be back with the second half after this.
Mike Lindner with Bob Shryock at Morris Slomsky Memorial Field. One more half to go to determine who the Group 1 South Jersey champion will be. Paulsboro, of course, with the better shot right now on top, 16-0. They're ready to receive the opening kickoff here in the second half. Steve Beebe to kick off, number 58 for the Bulldogs. And Hampton and Anderson standing deep. Again, Beebe bounces it up, and Adolphus Scott will take it at the 18-yard line, come right up the middle and not get too much, and he'll be wrapped up and thrown down by 6 or 7 Glassboro players, McCant and Peterson and Darren Douglas on the tackle for Glassboro. 1st and 10 Bulldogs.
It's very clear cut what Glassboro's mission is in this last 24 minutes of this football game. They're down 16-0. That means to win this game, they have to score 3 times, and that is not going to be easy against the Paulsboro defense, which has shut out 5 opponents this year. And, of course, defensively, Glassboro simply cannot allow Paulsboro to score again.
John Petrus, who took over on Thanksgiving for quarterback for the injured Bob Miller, remains as the quarterback for Paulsboro. They go back to a quick opener dive on the first play, and not much doing there. Bill Chiaffi making the stop for Glassboro of Hampton. First half statistics, Bob. Paulsboro more or less doubling Glassboro's efforts.
Thanks to Chuck Mangini, we do have some halftime stats. 9 first downs for Paulsboro, only 4 for Glassboro. Rushing yardage, 88 Paulsboro, 38 Glassboro. So there's an indication of Paulsboro's dominance in the first half.
Arlington and Cooper are split, but they're going to go with the option the other way, and Petrus will turn up inside. Reese Peterson makes the initial hit, helping out Joe DeSimone. He gets a couple of yards, but Glassboro trying to stiffen here in the early going of the third quarter. It'll be 3rd down and 6 yards to go for a first down. The disappointment in that first half has to be the passing for Glassboro, Bob. Dave Young completing only 2 passes with 13 attempts.
And 2 interceptions.
Now Brian Dick comes in motion. Petrus sprints to the right, throwing to the flat to Dick, and Dick makes the catch over and behind Walt Peterson, and Jack Sampson has to drive him out of bounds, but he'll be in the Glassboro territory. He'll get all the way down to the Glassboro 42-yard line before he stops. It'll be a Paulsboro first down.
It was a fine pass by Petrus that time, and a good catch by Brian Dick right over his shoulder. Brian Dick, as we mentioned in the first half, has become such a functional player. Look at this play again with Dick going in motion. Straight drop back by Petrus. Fine pass lofted over the defender, and Dick with a fine catch. Back to live action.
Again, the quick opener this time. Brian Dick runs the ball. Hapgroff comes over to make the tackle from the defensive end position, but Dick again picks up 6 yards on that initial hit. It'll be 2nd and 4.
And Brian Dick had a big first half, 14 carries for 52 yards, and he also caught 3 of the passes that Miller completed for another 25 yards. So Brian Dick with another big game against Glassboro.
Petrus to Dick. Dick slides down to the left side, and Jack Sampson again from the secondary to make the tackle. But they're running that dive play wide, Bob, running in at between guard and tackle where it's normally run, and then sliding to the outside of the tackle's block, and that's confusing things for Glassboro, and it was confusing to them the whole first half. So a little adjustment in the running patterns for Paulsboro, and it's certainly paid off in the first half and the early going of the second half. Hampton. And he really shows great strength, twisting and turning, and fights ahead. He should have been stopped 3 yards back from where he finally gets.
Strictly second effort. Hampton a senior, but Brian Dick a junior, Zach Worthy a junior, Bob Miller, who quarterbacked Paulsboro most of the season, only a junior. Of course, Petrus now a senior, filling in so nicely, but Paulsboro with a lot of people back at the skill positions in 1981.
And a player we've seen defensively, not offensively today, Willie Anderson, number 9, with great speed, just a sophomore, and he'll be there somewhere next year. Now Hampton in motion the other way. Again, Dick, but Falkenstein reads it this time, and Jay is up quickly to make the tackle. He'll deny the first down to Brian Dick. It'll be a 3rd down. They'll have around 4 yards to go for the first down. Glassboro making defensive substitutions now.
Andy Stewart, captain of the Glassboro team, number 77, sitting on the bench, not playing on this defensive series. Of course, he's spotted a lot by John Abini because he plays so often.
Ed Kelly, number 54, is in his place. Quick pass to Adolphus Scott. He's open. Will he make it in? Down around the 1 yard line. Saving tackle by Walt Peterson, but excellent faking in the backfield by Petrus. And Adolphus Scott, the tight end, breaks clear and gets that 1st and goal situation for Paulsboro down inside the 5.
Well, that was wide open. A tremendous play by Paulsboro. Everything they're doing now is turning out right. I continue to be impressed by John Petrus. Remember, he was not the starting quarterback on this football team through most of the season. Bob Miller did a fine job, but when Miller became injured, Petrus filled in, and he's done superbly.
Brian Dick, Glassboro defense, comes up strong on that one. Buddy Frank quickly in on the charge, makes the tackle. It'll be 2nd and goal. They'll get closer now down. Let's see if we mark it at the 3 yard line. 16-0 Paulsboro lead, looking for more. 7:45 left to play in the 3rd period.
Well, it's obvious Glassboro absolutely cannot afford to give up a score here. They would have a difficult time coming back from a 22 or 23-0 deficit.
Arlington split wide. Don't forget him. Not a pass coming up. It's going to be intercepted. Reese Peterson at the goal line. One man, block thrown for him. Will Peterson have the speed? John Paulson finally catches up to him at the Paulsboro 45, but that might be the big play that's needed to get Glassboro on track. Peterson just unable to break clear. Paulson coming up and doing an excellent job to catch him from the rear.
Well, that's the play that they needed to turn it around. We have a chance to see that one again. That would maybe we could see what happened on that play, but here it is again. Great rush by Glassboro and forced a quick pass. Peterson picking it off. Look at the blocking out here. Tremendous block by Annalini, but Paulson from the rear pulls down Peterson. Glassboro right back in this game.
1st and 10 Bulldogs. Dave Young looking at the Paulsboro defense. Goes to Sampson. Sampson on a quick hitter, fights ahead for 8 yards. With that momentum shift, Bob, they're going to have to get one out here. Although it's plenty of time, of course, and anything can happen in a football game, you just think they've got to take advantage of a big play like that.
I would think so. And again, had Paulsboro been able to go in and score there, you just can't envision anybody coming back against that Paulsboro defense to score as many points as Glassboro would have had to. But here they're right back in it. They can score twice, get 2 two-point conversions, and tie.
Young, double fake. Throwing it up. He's got Kevin Walker down deep, but what a defensive play made by Willie Anderson. Reaching up, he's beaten by 3 yards, reaches up that long right arm and knocks the ball away.
Well, that was a good play by Anderson, but you're right, he was beaten. Anderson, of course, 6 foot tall, and he jumps pretty well. And it's a good thing he was able to get up there because that ball would have floated right into Walker's hands.
All right, Walker now out. Brian Barrett, number 41, will run in with the play. They alternate at the split end positions. Let's see if Young goes back to the arrow right here with a 3rd and 2. Goes for the first down.
3rd and 2.
Barrett will split to the near side. Walt Peterson to the far side. Sampson, Spinelli in at fullback now, number 33. Crossbuck to Sampson. Mark Hampton tries to deny him the first down. Let's see where forward progress is marked. Looks like he's going to be maybe a foot short of the first down.
They'll bring up 4th down.
And Mark Hampton with an equipment problem, number 75. He'll wait. It'll be an official timeout.
Well, that drive by Paulsboro with the second half kickoff consumed almost 6 minutes of the clock. And, of course, what Glassboro cannot afford to do now, even after that break with the interception, they have to keep the football. They need a first down.
All right, Kevin Walker has the call. John Avini has talked to him during this official timeout on the sideline. They've got about a yard to go as it's marked. The ball around the 33-yard line in Paulsboro side of the field. They'll pitch it to Reese Peterson. He'll get a block of the guard out in front. Is he going to be able to make it? Looks like he's going to be denied by Anderson. And number 65 for Paulsboro, Berman. Dave Berman getting a lot of playing action. And let's see, they'll bring the chains over and see if Reese Peterson was able to make it. You know, Berman did a great job on that interception, Bob. He was the last man that was out there denying Peterson the chance to go all the way, and Hampton quickly came up and turned on the speed and took the proper pursuit angle, but that held Peterson up long enough for Paulson to make the tackle, and let's see if he's able to come up with a big play here also.
Paulsboro
gets 2 inches, yeah. Around 6 inches short. So an excellent defensive play, and that'll blunt the drive by Glassboro, and let's see if Paulsboro can regroup right now.
Seems like every time Paulsboro makes a mistake on offense, the defense manages to get the ball right back.
5:37 and counting. Third period action. Paulsboro with a 16-0 lead. Excellent blocking up front for Paulsboro today. Machowski at the center, doing a good job in the middle. Brian Dick, again, Falkenstein meets him and makes the tackle along with Antolini and Jack Sampson, but not till Brian gets a couple of more yards. It'll be a second down, and call it 7 to go for the first down.
Brian Dick well over 100 yards now on rushing and passing yardage combined in this game.
Cooper splits to the far side. Mike Arlington is the flank back to the near side. Open backs, they go to Brian Dick. Again, the linebackers with Antolini and Reese Peterson have to make the tackle for Glassboro. He gets a couple of more yards. He'll be short of the first down by 2. It'll be 3rd and 2.
I want to mention the fine job that the groundskeeper here at Glassboro High School, Charles Frazier, has done getting this field in shape. He and his helpers. Charles, been the groundsman here 14 years, retiring after this season.
Hampton looking for the first down, and let's see if he gets it. Well, they don't have to measure here, but I think they're going to have enough for the first down.
First down, Paulsboro.
And John Lusko, referee today, indicates first down without a measurement. And now some conversation. Apparently, maybe Lusko wanted a measurement, and the linesman misunderstood him.
Oh, it looked to me like they were short. I can't believe that they gave them the first down without the measurement.
I don't know how they could readjust the chains at this point. First down, that's the way it'll stand, and really no chance to do anything other than unless they had some pegs in the ground over there that they haven't moved yet, but there's no question about it. I think there was some confusion between the officials. Hampton. Walt Peterson, Reese Peterson, the brother team, make the tackle on Hampton. Number 40, we're seeing more action from him this half. Of course, he's replacing Zach Worthy. Worthy going most of the way in the first half.
In about 3 on play, brings up 2nd and 7 for Paulsboro.
Hampton, Brian Dick, a couple of the players who saw some spot duty in the championship game for Paulsboro a year ago. Of course, they're running behind some good ones. Kevin Ross and Braxton, and an outstanding veteran backs at Paulsboro had a year ago.
Oh, there's some movement. There will be a dead ball foul. Berman, number 65, moves at right guard position. And that'll cost Paulsboro the 5 yards. They'll move it back. A difficult sun this time, this late in the year, Bob, the way this field is laid out, of course, and making it very difficult for our camera people today who do such a great job. And you'll be leaning heavily on that crew tomorrow as you have your, of course, everyone will have seen that outstanding mini telethon by the time they're watching this game. Oh, there's some more movement, and as a back, of course, he can get back, and does. So Petrus keeps the ball himself and gets to the sideline and driven out over there. Ball will be short of a first down by around a yard, but that was an interesting motion. Fortunately, did not draw anyone off from Glassboro, and Hampton able to recover. It's now a 3rd down and 2 yards to go for the first down. Ball at the Glassboro 49.
Well, the big difference in the football game, of course, has been Paulsboro's ability to control the football. And Glassboro simply is going to have to get it away from them very quickly. 3:08 to play in the 3rd quarter. Glassboro needs points, and they don't have the ball.
Petrus fakes, goes to the option, keeps the ball himself, and gets the first down just over the Glassboro 46-yard line. John Petrus, story in himself, a young man as a senior, beaten out by Miller, the junior, at the starting quarterback slot. They fought it out in the preseason training camp situation and just biding his time, staying ready all year long, and picking up the heavy responsibility on Thanksgiving Day, doing a super job then, and has certainly been an outstanding football player all afternoon here in the championship game.
And you can just see him gaining confidence with every play.
Hampton. And he gets 7 yards. So what we saw in the opening quarter with Paulsboro controlling things, they're pretty much having it their way right now. The only real difference in the second half was that one interception. It looked like Glassboro was going to pick up momentum.
That's true, but the momentum has shifted right back to Paulsboro.
Sean Hartman and Mark Cooper now split to the near side. Cooper the end, Hartman the slot back. Look good with Brian Dick the other way. He will not get the first down, so they'll face a 3rd and short yardage for the first down situation.
Well, they've had a bunch of these 3rd and short situations today, and they've converted most of them. Of course, that's a mark of a good football team. When you can pick up the first down on 3rd down, that's what Paulsboro has done all day long.
All right, the ball is at the Glassboro 37-yard line. Glassboro making defensive changes on nearly every play, depending on the situation. Shutting in defensive backs, replacing them with linemen, and they tighten up now with a 6-man front, and there's the penalty flag, dead ball.
Movement on the left side of the Paulsboro line.
And that'll take it back and make it 3rd and around 7 to go for the first down.
And, of course, could very well change the play. Paulsboro probably would have had a running play in for that 3rd and short situation. Now we may see Petrus put the ball in the air.
Now Chaffee and Reese Peterson come to the sideline. They're replaced in the defensive alignment. This time Hartman and Cooper split on opposite sides, and Petrus to throw to one of them. Looking into the flat. And it's going to be incomplete, and we're going to get an interference call of some sort, offense or defense. Walt Peterson went to the ground. Apparently it will be called against Paulsboro if we can accept what Glassboro is showing us with the applause. And maybe that's how Walt Peterson went down. I don't know if we have that play ready to show and whether we could see that push-off. But Walt Peterson wound up on the ground. It was a 3rd and 8 situation. I'll bring the ball back and explain options here, of course, to Jack Sampson, who will make the decision. Here it is. Here's the play. And we see Peterson wind up on the ground and the flag thrown. And apparently, Doffa Scott got mixed up with Peterson and tripped him up.
Well, Glassboro will take the penalty, give Paulsboro one more down, but it'll be a 3rd and long situation.
Interference.
So there'll be a loss of down on that
That's right,
play
loss of
also.
down.
So it'll be a 4th down situation now. Jack Sampson will drop deep to receive the anticipated punt from Paulsboro. Sampson's going to wind up somewhere around his own 25-yard line. He's going to be joined now by Rick McCant, number 22. And Dobzhansky, who's done a super job all season punting for Paulsboro, will stand at his own 30-yard line to punt. See if they go into that strange movement to try and pull him off. Not this time. Dobzhansky gets it off. And McCant decides against getting the ball, and it's going to roll for Paulsboro down to the Glassboro 23-yard line where they'll take over 1st and 10.
1:12 to play in the 3rd quarter. Obviously, the clock is Glassboro's 2nd biggest enemy right now, and the Bulldogs have to score a touchdown pretty quickly. They just can't wait much longer. They're going to have to come up with a big play to turn this game around.
Well, much of the responsibility is going to fall on the right arm of Dave Young. He's had a dismal game so far, certainly not up to his standards. A couple of passes dropped on him as Peterson comes in motion. And now Young has trouble and has tripped up himself, and as he tries to fake and drop the throw, looking downfield for Sampson, Groff, and Barrett. Tripped up, falls, and loses 5 yards. It'll be a 2nd down and 15.
Hello, Mom. This is Donaway.
40 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
Andy Stewart replaced by Steve Beebe, number 58, now on the offensive line at left tackle for Glassboro.
That's my friend Donna Davis in the background talking. Oh, I'm sorry.
Young fakes to Peterson, getting pressure from the backside, and he's just going to try and get back to the line of scrimmage, and unable to do that, and they continue to pour through. Dobzhansky and Machowski, that time, number 50 and 41, providing the primary pressure on Young, forcing him out of the pocket. And that's going to do it. It's going to run the timeout for Glassboro, and they're going to be left only with 12 minutes for them to try and come back. And if they're unsuccessful, Paulsboro, with the 16-0 lead, will successfully defend their Group 1 South Jersey Championship. We'll be back with that action following these words. Dave Young to throw on the first pass of the 4th quarter. It's knocked up in the air. Anderson picks it off on the tip drill. He's looking for the right sideline. There's some blocking over there for him, but he's unable to get to it, and one of those blocks might have been a clip as we see the yellow flag. Mike Lindner with Bob Shryock for 4th quarter action. Paulsboro on top 16-0, and that opening play of this quarter is not going to be a happy one for Glassboro.
Absolutely not, and of course that's going to give Paulsboro excellent field position on top of the 16-0 lead, and it could be a long afternoon for Glassboro.
Defensive backs for Paulsboro, excellent training and coaching. That's the 2nd time now in 2 games we've seen balls tipped up in the air and key interceptions being made by the Paulsboro secondary. This time, number 9, Willie Anderson, the outstanding speedster sophomore, being very alert here and getting the interception.
That's been one of the differences in the game, has been the inability of the Glassboro passing game really to get on track today. As you mentioned, Dave Young not having one of his best games, 2 for 15 now, and now 3 interceptions. Of course, Young only had 6 interceptions on the season coming into this game, and he's got 3 today.
Petrus to Hampton. And Payne makes the tackle for Glassboro, but Hampton gets a yard or 2. Interestingly, Young comes into the game, Bob, with a fairly high passing percentage in high school ball, and it's difficult to assess any reason for the trouble he's having today, except for the outstanding defensive play by Paulsboro in the secondary.
Well, and also the pass rush, I think, has been tremendous. I don't think Dave Young has seen a pass rush like this all season long. He's completed 47% of his passes coming in, but he's had a tremendous rush, and the secondary has done its job as well.
Arlington is split to the near side for Paulsboro, but they're going to try and run the option again, and not much doing for Petrus this time, as number 10, Darren Douglas, getting a chance to play out there, comes up from the short secondary and disrupts that play, and it'll be a 3rd down and 9 for Paulsboro. The clock continues to run. 10:38 left to play in the ball game. The ball's marked at the Glassboro 48-yard line.
Glassboro's defense has done a fine job since having difficulty in the early part of the football game, but you have a sense now that the Paulsboro defense is just going to take charge of this football game.
Petrus wants to throw, looking for Adolphus Scott, and it's going to be incomplete. And he really threw that into a lot of traffic. Jay Falkenstein and Mark Antolini, the linebackers, as Glassboro setting a 5-4 that time, were really right there. But there's going to be a penalty, and maybe one of those people pushed off a little too early. And what would have been a short yardage gain if they had gotten it will turn into a 15-yard gain by virtue of the penalty. John Lusko will mark it off. It'll be a Paulsboro first down.
Yeah, that's a tough penalty for Glassboro to absorb at this point in the game with 10:17 to play and down 16-0.
The ball now at the Glassboro 32-yard line. Things looking better and better for Paulsboro, who of course wanted to dedicate themselves to the larger goal this year of defending that South Jersey crown. Hampton following the blocking of Brian Dick from the backfield, getting some good blocking up front from Paulson, who led the way. And he gets 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5. Now, that was the thing, Bob. Every coach and every team at the beginning of the season always sits down and lists the goals that they have for a season. And generally, you take a look at going for as many wins as possible. The next level, maybe your conference championship. But with Paulsboro, with anyone that's won a championship, they want to defend the big one. Brian Dick does not get anything on this thrust across the right side.
Well, I think it's a tremendous tribute to not only the Paulsboro High School players, but the coaching staffs. I think sometimes we have a tendency to forget the jobs these coaches do. This was a Paulsboro team that I don't really think anybody thought would come back and win another Group 1 championship. I think everybody knew that Paulsboro is always going to produce a good football team, but let's face it, they had lost most of their veterans at the skill positions. It was a matter of rebuilding the offense almost totally, and what a job they've done.
Well, things looking good for them now as they go with the option to pitch out to Dick. Dick knows he wants to get to the first down marker. He's going to be very close to it, over around the 22-3-yard line. See where they mark it after they pick the chains up, get the ball placed. And he'll come up, it appears, a couple of inches short.
Well, Paulsboro's had a bunch of these 3rd and 4th short situations, and they've gotten virtually all of them today. I don't think it's any great secret that this game really lacks the drama and the excitement of the Thanksgiving Day game, and I think that's probably because, in part, Paulsboro has been so thoroughly in command of the game from the start.
Well, you know, your halftime guest, John Polillo, talked about being out during the week to the practice sessions for Glassboro and saw a team that was high as could be. And a lot of high school coaches, even right up through the professional ranks, will tell you, Bob, that it is a psychological game. And sometimes you can wind up leaving a game on the practice field if you peak just a little too early. Some of the enthusiasm that we saw from Glassboro throughout the year obviously appears to have been lacking as Petrus tries to get the first down again on the sneak. There's a penalty flag thrown. It's a motion penalty against Paulsboro, and that'll cost them 5 and bring it back.
You're talking about the momentum factor, too. A lot of people wondered whether it would be advantageous or not for the team that won the Thanksgiving game in coming back. A lot of people felt that Glassboro might have more incentive because it lost the Thanksgiving Day game, but obviously we've seen no evidence so far that Paulsboro is down at all. They're controlling the game.
Well, maybe that was negated, Bob, by the fact that they did have that championship a year ago and the strong desire to come back and keep it 2 years in a row, and that becomes incentive enough to carry you through a week of practice. And the other thing to remember is that both those teams did not have that many days between their semifinal game and the Thanksgiving Day game to get ready. So a lot of the preparation took place for this ball game. Forced in on Thanksgiving as Glassboro's going to take over with a first down here. Paulsboro unable to get the yardage necessary, but a lot of the preparation maybe came for this game, and they just went with what they had done all year long in the Thanksgiving Day game.
I don't think either team is fooling each other today. I simply think it's a matter of Paulsboro's offensive and defensive lines being in charge of the football game.
Glassboro with 8:33 left to go. Sampson, good yardage. Sampson with great speed. It's Sackworthy and Sampson. And Sackworthy is able to get him, but not till he gets a first down at the Paulsboro 45-yard line.
Shouldn't surprise anybody. We've seen enough Glassboro games this year to know that when the chips are down, when the things get tough for Glassboro High School, you give the ball to Jack Sampson, and he'll make things happen. Big play there. Glassboro still alive.
34-yard gainer for Jack Sampson on that run. 1st and 10 Bulldogs.
But they have to score quickly, Mike.
Young to Sampson. Reverse to Walt Peterson. Peterson has the sideline and gets 9 yards out of it. Adolphus Scott making the tackle over there on the far side of the field.
Dave Berman, number 65 of Paulsboro, angry at himself that he was not able to contain that play in the backfield, but he deserves some credit anyway because he slowed Worthy up long enough that Glassboro was able to keep it to just a 9-yard game. That could have gone for a lot more yards.
Walt Peterson, the all-purpose player for Glassboro, getting the call on that play. We've seen him at end. We've seen him at a defensive back. Now he's at the wing-back position for the 2nd play in a row. Young fakes to Sampson. He has time. He has it in the air. Looking for Brian Barrett. It'll be incomplete at the 7-yard line. Covered well down there by Willie Anderson, number 9 of Paulsboro.
Willie Anderson, the sophomore we've talked so much about, but he keeps improving every game too.
Again, I'm surprised that Glassboro going for the big chunks. Unable really to complete those long passes today, and you'd think there's still time, of course, as we look at the clock with 7:26, and it's stopped now, to pick up those 10, 12 yards maybe instead of going for the big one. 3rd down and 1. They've got to get the first down, keep the drive going. Sampson has the 1 and more. He breaks loose. Finally, Miller, along with Adolphus Scott, will get him after he crosses the Paulsboro 20-yard line. First down, Glassboro. The drive continues. Now we see the Glassboro fans starting to come alive. Bob, a disastrous first quarter, a disastrous third quarter. They just didn't have the ball long enough to do anything.
5 plays in the first quarter, 6 in the third. A total of only 11 offensive plays in those 2 quarters combined, and that's certainly a large difference in this football game at this time.
All right, Sampson gets 16 yards on that carry. Now we've got an official timeout. Tortella with a problem, number 55, the defensive end for Paulsboro. Surprised that anyone with that size can play up there in that line and do such a super job. Number 55, Tortella, 140-pounder, 5'7", outstanding football player. Young to Sampson, to Peterson again on the reverse. He won't get as much this time. Get maybe a yard or 2, but they didn't fool Mark Hampton, number 75, who reads the play this time, fights off the block and makes the tackle.
Well, they shut it down beautifully that time.
And the clock is really going to cause problems for Glassboro now. 6:42 and counting.
Mike, they have to be thinking at this point about 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions to force this into overtime. We haven't talked about that, but in championship play, if the game is tied at the end of regulation, they go into a sudden death overtime period.
They could be here forever if it stayed that way. Sampson with the blocking in front of him. Sampson's got good yardage. Tubzanski comes all the way back from the middle guard position and makes the tackle on Jack Sampson. He'll be down very close to the first down and very close to the 10-yard line.
I'd love to watch him when he wants the football, and that's what he wants, right? He wants the football. He wants to make things happen.
All right, they're going to bring it in and mark it. But Sampson, what a tremendous career. 2,037 yards coming in on his career to this game.
There's an indication of that great second effort by Sampson after the... And it's a first down for Glassboro as we come back to live action. But Sampson carried the tacklers an extra 2 or 3 yards.
And he gets the first down.
6:18 to go. Glassboro must score quickly.
All right, it's a first and goal. Around the 9.5-yard line where it's marked. Sampson and Reese Peterson still the running backs behind Dave Young. Walt Peterson in motion behind them. They'll go the other way with Sampson. DeSimone out in front of him. Sampson trying to drag Scott and Petrus with him, but he's not going to get much as they strong football players wrap him up and take him down, and he'll get maybe a yard out of it. So it'll be second. Let's mark the ball at the 7-yard line now.
Of course, the clock is running, and each running play like that doesn't go out of bounds keeps eating up more and more of that clock. 5:40 to play.
Well, they've got to get the first one, obviously, and they can't afford to rush things, worrying about a second touchdown, because it wouldn't, if they don't get this one. Sampson, but there's a penalty flag. And he got great yardage out of it, down around the 1-yard line. It's a shame to see that play spoil for Glassboro. Illegal procedure, Glassboro, that'll cost them 5. And it's going to be very, very tough, Bob, because it's going to wind up back around the 12 or 13-yard line. And remember, they cannot get a first down because they started with a 1st and goal. They've got to get it into the end zone.
And they would have had a couple of chances to rush it in from where Sampson took that ball, but now probably they have to be thinking pass.
At the 12-yard line.
They'll mark it officially at the 12. Frank, Williams, Jaffe, DeSimone, Beebe, the interior 5 blockers up front for Dave Young. Young double fakes again, looking over in the corner. Oh, he overthrows his man in the short flat, Reese Peterson, and that's a shame because Brian Barrett, Bob, did an outstanding job of cleaning that zone out, took Zach Worthy with him all the way, and Peterson was wide open and would have walked in for the touchdown.
Strictly overthrown, you're right, and that could have been 6 very easily. Nobody near Peterson.
Excellent call and a tremendous route run by both Barrett and Peterson, and just an overthrown pass. And Dave Young, who's been outstanding all year long, is going to hate his performance to this point in this ball game. Young now with a 3rd and goal from the 12. To throw. To Kevin Walker, and again up in the air, and Zach Worthy is quickly there, makes a good hit as the ball gets to Walker on the button hook pattern, and that's just going to bring up the 4th down situation now.
That really comes down to this one play for Glassboro. 5:02 to go. Glassboro must score on this play, or the football game is virtually over unless there would be a quick turnover against Paulsboro.
Remember, they must stick it in the end zone. They cannot get a first down. Young will need all the time he can get out of his blockers up front this time. He'll have Brian Barrett split to the far side. Peterson will be a wing back to the near side. They'll double fake again. Here's the play to Barrett in the end zone. He's got it! Brian Barrett on the same pattern he ran when they missed Peterson. Beats Zach Worthy this time, and Glassboro's done it. They've gotten on the scoreboard. 4:56 left to play in regulation, and it's Paulsboro 16, Glassboro 6. You got to like the performance of Brian Barrett on that one.
Oh, that was a great play, a great catch by Barrett, but give Young some credit because we've been mentioning that he has been off target today. Watching this play again now, pressure really on Young here. He's been misfiring all day, perfectly timed pass. Barrett beat his man. But now, that was the biggest play of the game for Glassboro, and now this one becomes the biggest play. They have to have this 2-point conversion, or that will render that touchdown almost academic.
All right, Hapcroft quickly into the game. Walt Peterson gets out in time. Young to throw. To Walker, incomplete. Great pressure from the Paulsboro line. Adolphus Scott just put Young on his rear end in the backfield, and that'll go incomplete, so it'll stay 16-6, 4:56 to play, and even with the touchdown, things look very, very tough for the Bulldogs and continue to look bright for Paulsboro.
Well, what that does is now almost force Glassboro to make an onside kick here. If they had gotten a 2-point conversion, it's conceivable that they would have just made a regular kickoff and asked their defense to hold Paulsboro, get the ball back, and they would have had time to score what could have been the tying touchdown. The Glassboro cheerleaders trying to get the fans, keep the fans' enthusiasm in this game. But what this does is force Glassboro to score 2 times now and almost surely put them in a situation of making the onside kick.
All right, we saw it, of course, at the conclusion of the Thanksgiving Day game. Glassboro having scored with 1:11 in that contest and missing the extra point, the 2-point conversion try, as Dubzanski made the tackle that'll be remembered for years in Paulsboro football history. And following that, Beebe teed the ball up, and the Glassboro players lined up normally and then quickly all shifted to the left for the extra point. The deep men now, Hampton and Anderson, number 9 and 40, may not get a chance to see this. Let's see if the Glassboro team shifts over to the left as they set it up a week ago, about 10 days ago now. Ready to go. Let's go. Winds the clock and blows the whistle. Beebe keeps the kick going, and Adolphus Scott gets it at the 35-yard line and has room on the sideline. Takes it out of bounds on the other side. Reese Peterson makes the tackle, but Paulsboro is going to get it 1st and 10 at their own 47-yard line.
I don't think Beebe wanted to hit it quite that good. He hit a line drive. Obviously, it was an onside kick attempt. Either that or he's just trying to drive it off one of the up men, but Paulsboro keeps the ball, and with 4:51 to go, make it very difficult for Glassboro now. Mike, now you have to go back to the value of the safety in the first period, because Dubzanski's tackle of Sampson in the end zone, giving Paulsboro that 2 points, really took the extra point kick away from Beebe. Had it been 14-6, perhaps John Avini would have gone for the 1-point conversion.
All right, Paulsboro with Hampton. Mark Antolini stops him at the line. We haven't talked about Antolini that much today, Bob. Maybe it's because we've talked about him so much in the other games we've done on Channel 5, but there's an outstanding football player.
And one of the returnees for Glassboro next year, Mark, 175-pounder, standing only about 5'6", and he has just been a tear all season long. 81 tackles coming into this game, twice as many as the next leading tackler in the Glassboro team. Very active linebacker.
Arlington and Cooper split to the near side. They'll keep it on the line, though. Brian Dick will get it. Reese Peterson makes the initial hit. 3 or 4 other Glassboro players jump in to wrap him up. Doing their best to get Paulsboro only the 3 downs and force the punt, and hope to get it back with enough time to get a couple of scores, and that's going to be very tough. 4:03 now on the clock, and it's running under 4 minutes now.
Again, pressure on the Glassboro defense. They cannot permit a first down here. Glassboro has to get the football back. Have to score twice, and we have 3:45 to play.
36 as Peaches brings him up.
Now we have motion. Hampton across the backfield. It's a pitch to Brian Dick, but he'll be wrapped up by Ed Kelly and Joe DeSimone.
Great play by DeSimone that time.
So it will be a 4th down situation. There will be a punting time for Paulsboro. And as the clock winds down under 3:30, let's see if they take all the time allotted to them. They can actually wait till it is under 3 minutes here before they get the punt off.
Would think they'd have to try to get the kicker too this time. Mike, try to block the punt.
All right, Dubzanski will stand at his own 37-yard line to punt. Sampson and Rick McCant will be deep. They'll be around their own 20-yard line to wait for Dubzanski's punt. They do try to go after it. Hapcroft unable to get it. And this is an excellent punt. It's going to bounce around and roll out of bounds at around the 12-yard line. Very, very tough with that sun now to see where it's marked. But we'll wait and see where they put the chains on the other side. But it's going to be a long way to go for Glassboro.
Well, they're on the scoreboard. A little more confidence in their offense now. Paulsboro just doesn't give up that many points, and we'll see Dave Young crank the ball up a few more times. 2:52 to go. Glassboro needing 2 touchdowns or 2 scores of some kind to pull this game out.
And the ball is marked 1st and 10 at the 10-yard line. The Bulldogs cannot waste time now. Paulsboro, of course, expecting pass, even though they're down 90 yards away from the score.
And the defensive secondary loves this kind of situation. They'll look for the interception.
No pass on this one. Reese Peterson with DeSimone out front blocking. Coming up from the secondary, Willie Anderson, number 9, makes the tackle. They get 5 or 6, maybe 7 yards out of it. Call it 2nd and 3, but it takes a lot of time as Kevin Walker comes in, number 42, with the play from the bench. Now Walker and Sampson will come out to the near side in a slot formation. Walt Peterson splits in the backfield. Reese Peterson stays behind Young to block. Young. And a poorly thrown pass to Walt Peterson. He's covered well by Tortella, who dropped off from the defensive end position as they send an extra man out. And that situation with all the people split.
Good pressure by Machowski that time. We've seen all day long the good pass rush by Paulsboro. It's been a big difference in this football game. 1:59 to go, and a 3rd down situation. Young needs a long one.
Dave will send Barrett to the far side. Brian Barrett with the only touchdown for Glassboro today. Walt Peterson will join him, slotted out in that direction. They'll fake the draw. Now they'll go with the screen. Jack Sampson has it. Needs some blocks in front of him. He'll get the first down. And that'll be all. He'll be stopped after a gain of around 15 on the play.
And Dubzanski got him from behind. He's scary when he gets the ball out there. Really impressed with the speed of Bob Dubzanski. We've seen him make big plays in both the Thanksgiving Day game and this one.
Official timeout.
Now there's an official timeout. Jack Sampson injured. Here's the replay. We see the blocking out in front of him. But good reaction coming back from the defensive line position. The tackle made. Now Sampson being attended to. And they decide they're not going to take a chance on hurriedly getting him out of the ball game. Trouble with the left leg.
Well, you talked before about his great career, Mike, and possibility this is the last play we'll see of Jack Sampson in this football game, but total yardage for his 3-year Glassboro High School career, 3,302 yards, and that, of course, does not include this game. That's coming in. 23 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions in his career. He's intercepted 7 passes. Kickoff returns, almost 400 yards on kickoff returns. We saw him run that 88-yarder against Riverside, averaging 10 yards in his career on punt returns. 42 pass receptions in his career for 3 touchdowns, and, of course, over 2,000 yards rushing. So he's been a tremendous all-around player, great on defense and offense. And Jack Sampson now coming off the field under his own power. Getting a nice hand from the crowd. They appreciate the career he's had.
One of the best we've had on Channel 5 over the last 2 years of covering high school football games.
First and 10, Bulldogs at their own 27-yard line. Dave Jones brings it.
Ball is at the 27 with a 1st and 10 situation. Young to Peterson on the draw. He fumbles the ball. It's still bouncing around. Let's see who gets it. It looks like Paulsboro ball. If it is, that'll close the door, I think, Bob, on Glassboro's chances at dethroning Paulsboro as South Jersey Group 1 champs. Paulsboro's going to get it. 1:36 left to run off the clock, and I think it's time for you to go and try and find us our post-game interview. Hopefully, hope you're able to get the winning coach, Tom Brown.
Try to get Tom Brown down there, and his staff has done a tremendous job all season long.
Clock now running. It's rewound, of course, and the change is set, and it'll be 1:23 when they get it off. Brian Dick on the right side follows the block of Scott and Hampton. Goes out of bounds over there, but Brian Dick adds to his total for today, getting close to 5 yards on that play. Let's call it 2nd and 5.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Both teams very, very happy, of course, before today's game. They've gotten such a gorgeous afternoon, December 6th, late in the year to be playing football, but they came in lucky with a lot of sunshine and not the coldest day. But it's going to be a happy one at the end of the afternoon for Paulsboro, and a very, very sad one for Glassboro, as we see Hampton running the ball and tackle being made by Kelly and Falkenstein, and forcing Glassboro now to take the timeout with 1:08 left to play. Excellent season for both teams. Of course, that's the only way you get to this situation. And only the 4th time in the history of the playoffs in the state of New Jersey, the 2 teams that have met in the regular season have come back to play in a championship final. Paulsboro, of course, advancing to this game after beating Point Pleasant Beach 20-0 in the semifinals, and having the game with Glassboro that we've talked so much about today at Thanksgiving Day in between that semifinal game and this one. Glassboro defeating Riverside in their semifinal contest to win the right to try and take the crown away from Paulsboro. First quarter being Paulsboro all the way as they jumped out to the lead. Glassboro being denied the ball in that period, as we pointed out, only running 5 plays. And then Paulsboro coming back to dominate the 3rd quarter of action today, holding Glassboro only 6 offensive plays in that game. Glassboro, of course, hoping to win their second Group 1 championship, the first one being in 1975 when John Avini in his first season taking over for Marv Slomsky, who was lost, of course, at a very early age to illness. And John, a member of his staff, getting the head coaching job that year, and they responded with the championship. But Paulsboro looking for their second championship, and it looks as if they're going to get it as Hampton is knocked out of bounds. So stop the clock at the... Apparently they did not get out of bounds. The clock continues to click now with under a minute to play. 4th down and 5 for Paulsboro. Glassboro calls another timeout. They're going to be a very, very happy ride home to Paulsboro for the Red Raiders and the many, many fans who joined them today. It's the second large crowd in a row here at Glassboro for this meeting between these two teams. The first one, of course, explained away by the fact that it's a Thanksgiving Day rivalry, and added to that, it'll be the last one in the long tradition, and that brought back an unbelievable crowd compared to the ones we've seen all season long, and somewhat disappointing crowds showing up for high school football this season. But this one, large crowd coming out to see the championship play. Majority of those happy, of course, leaving today will be the Paulsboro fans. Remind you to begin checking the listings for our continued winter sports parade here on Channel 5. Been taking a look over the last couple of weeks at the early schedules in basketball and wrestling. That's both girls basketball and the young men's play in basketball. And we've picked out, we think, some winners for the rest of the 1980 season, and you're going to enjoy a full season of winter sports on Channel 5. Back now to game action, 52 seconds left to play. They're going to give Adolphus Scott the ball on the end around. There's blocking out in front of him. Let's see if he gets the first down. There is a penalty flag. We'll have to wait and see what that is. It's a motion penalty against Paulsboro, preliminary signal. So that'll bring it back, and then even if they got the first down, they're going to have a 4th and 10 situation facing them. They will bring it back. John Lusko has explained the options. He'll mark off the 5 yards. It'll be 4th down, Paulsboro, and just under 10 yards to go for the first down. Paulsboro enjoying some glory years in football the last 5 years. This is the 3rd appearance in 5 years in the South Jersey Group 1 championship, winning last year with the unexpected romp over Palmyra, a team that came in undefeated into that contest. Paulsboro handled them easily, and the pride of Paulsboro today, with 30 seconds left to go in the game, with the 16-6 lead, they'll go with the end around the other way. Adolphus Scott's going to throw the left-handed pass, looking into the end zone, and Cooper has it in his hands momentarily. It falls incomplete. Rick McCann covering for Glassboro, along with Walt Peterson, and the Bulldogs will take over 1st and 10, but facing a task it'll be next to impossible, of course, to come back and get a couple of scores and win this ball game. So Paulsboro on the last play, 10 yards to go for the first down, tries to pull a sneaky one and come up with the touchdown. Here's the replay. Adolphus Scott, the left-hander, and Cooper loses it at the end line.
First and 10 left at their own 20-yard line. Dave Young brings them up.
Young will have Peterson in motion. He'll sprint to the right to throw. A lot of pressure. Still on his feet. Still has time. Now he's got to run past the line of scrimmage. Look to get out of bounds. Paulson will throw him out over there on the far side along with Berman. Paulson and Berman making the tackle. Time is stopped. He does get a first down. There is a flag on the play, however. Paulsboro cheerleaders lined up. They know what this game means. They're very excited. They'll be the cheerleaders for the 2nd year in a row of a South Jersey champion. Play is brought back, and the penalty marked off against Glassboro. And it's going to be a long one, apparently a holding penalty against the Bulldogs. Holding 15 yards, still first down, 25 yards now to go for the first down. That's very, very academic. 14 seconds left in the ball game. And unless we see an incomplete pass or two or somebody getting to the sidelines, we could be facing the last play on every snap now of the ball. Young will fake to Sampson and look to throw. And over, picked off by Pietrus. Pietrus has it, looking for blocking. Doesn't want to let it up. That'll do it for the ball game. He'll fall down, and it'll be a penalty, however, with 1 second left on the clock. Apparently, they're going to rule that Chaffee made a late hit on Pietrus, so they'll have to mark that one off. And they will have a chance to snap the ball one more time. They'll watch as they assess the penalty. Personal foul against Glassboro. It'll be a 15-yarder and 1 second left on the clock. And we've enjoyed bringing this game to you. We hope that you stay around. We'll take a short pause after the game, but then we're going to have some interesting interviews with Bob Shryock. He's on the sideline now trying to arrange those interviews, and I'm sure you'll like to hear what's said in the review of this ball game. 1st and 10 Paulsboro now. That'll do it. The clock will be wound. It'll wind off. And the Red Raiders have done it for the 2nd year in a row. They've come up victorious. And for the 2nd time in 10 days, they've defeated Glassboro. This time, however, for the South Jersey Group 1 Sectional Championship. Final score, Paulsboro 16, Glassboro 6. We'll be back following these short words. All right, back now at Glassboro High School, where there's an excited crowd and a very, very enthusiastic crowd of Paulsboro fans and Paulsboro players down on the sideline with our Bob Shryock, who's waiting to talk to head coach Tom Brown, and Boyd Sands is there from the NJSIAA for the championship. Let's go to Bob Shryock right now.
Okay, I'm down here on the sidelines with head coach Tom Brown of the Paulsboro High School Red Raiders. Tom, congratulations, 2 in a row.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. The kids played very well. We came out in the first half and really controlled the line of scrimmage, which I think was a real difference. And I give Glassboro a lot of credit in the second half. They really did a nice job. But our kids hung tough like they have been all year long. And I'm very, very proud of everyone. There's Mrs. Ross over there.
16-6, maybe not really reflective of how much you dominated the football game, Tom. Were you a little bit surprised that it was a little bit easier this time?
Well, we felt all along that our line was a little bit better than they were, and we felt that we could control the ball, and our kids went out and did that. And we talked a lot about the mental edge that they might have because of us winning the first ball game, and it looked like we had the mental edge in that first half, and they came out in the second half and looked like they had a little more of a psychological feeling than what we did. Probably a dumb call on my part. We had 2 yards to go for a touchdown, and we thought we could sneak in with a boot pass, and that really got them some electricity, you know. And
well, Tom, we have Boyd Sands representing the NJSAA to make a presentation here.
Second ball, 2 years in a row, Coach. Good luck.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that
great.
very much.
Good.
Thank
We're
you.
glad.
Tom, congratulations on 2 in a row.
Okay,
great job,
thank you.
you and your staff and your whole team. Mike?
All right, an excited coach and one that deserves to be very, very proud. Tom Brown, a longtime assistant at Audubon High School, finally getting a chance to break into the head coaching ranks at Paulsboro High School. Has a great staff along with him. His number 1 and 2 men, of course, Jerry Hershaff and Bill Esterlin, themselves former head coaches who come back as assistants at Paulsboro. This staff has done an outstanding job, and right now Bob Shryock has another interesting guest.
Tom, we're back. I want you to talk about your coach a little bit now. Jerry Teresi, who calls all the touchdowns for you, and all these other people.
I'll tell you, I am so proud of all these guys. Come on in here a little bit, guys. You know, we talked the other night about how important it is to have good people surrounding you. You cannot run a program in this day and age without having some people who just do a great job behind you as assistant coaches. And I'd like to introduce the people who have helped me for the 3 years I've been here, and I am super indebted to these people. Jerry Teresi, Coach Joe Hershaft over here, Coach Pete Pandolfo, Coach Bill Esterlin is around somewhere and I can't find him, and Coach John Brennan. I thank you to all those people and all the community for supporting us.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thanks,
Thank
Bob.
you, guys. Okay.
All right, Bob, and of course, over the years, last couple of years, we've had the pleasure doing a number of Paulsboro games, and Coach Tarashi has stood next to us a number of times up on top of press boxes, and we've watched him call a number of touchdown plays, and he's got to be very, very proud. The assistant coaches who so often act in anonymity. But some great players today: Mark Cooper, Packer, Paulson, Machowski, Gentile, Hampton, Scott Hartman, Dick Worthy, Hampton, Petrus. The list could go on. Dubzanski, Anderson, Miller. They did just a super job for Paulsboro, and down through the years, this team is going to be remembered. A lot of people at the outset of the season did not expect them to accomplish what the super Paulsboro team of a year ago did, but here it is on the last day of the football season, and they've done it one more time. Paulsboro, the Group 1 South Jersey champions. One more time, then the final score: Paulsboro 16, Glassboro 6. For Bob Shryock, I'm Mike Lindner. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed today's game. We'll be looking for you next time.